everybody, and welcome back to Indiescovery, the indie gaming podcast brought to you by Rock Paper Shotgun. I'm one of your hosts, Rebecca Jones, joined by my friends, colleagues, and co-hosts, Rachel Watts.
Hello.
And Liam Richardson.
Hello.
And today we're going to start off by talking about our GOT for Hoties, or games of the first half of the year. I've looked it up. I'm one of maybe 3 people ever to use that acronym, but I write it down all the time because I'm determined to make it happen. I'd never said it aloud before, and it turns out it's a challenge. And then after which, we're going to move on to talk a little bit about the games that we're anticipating and very excited for in the second half of 2023. Now, before we start, I do just want to address a bit of an elephant in the room, which is that we are recording and releasing this episode at the end of May, which is not quite halfway through the year. But I'm not sure about you two, but I was extremely happy to tackle this subject now because June is slammed with excellent game releases that I'm so excited for, and I am genuinely up for, in another month or two, doing like a little revisit and just doing best games of June 2023 because it's going to be, I'm so hyped for next month. It's just like so many good things.
That, yeah.
And this is what I wanted to show you guys. I've been telling you that I had something I wanted to show you when we got onto the episode. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is it. This is my gaming calendar for June. Just as an idea of how wild June is going to be if you are like me and you're into these sort of weird little like visual novel, point and click sort of indie cutesy things I'm into. There were nearly 3 days. There's only 2 now, but there were nearly 3 days in June where 2 games I'm hyped for are releasing on the same day. It's just right. These aren't all indies, but I do need to show you this intense calendar I've got going. Because on the 8th of June, we've got The Mask of the Rose and Harmony, The Fall of Reverie on the same day. On the 15th, we've got Layers of Fear, and we almost had Goodbye Volcano High. That's now been moved to the end of August, and frankly, I was relieved when they delayed it because I was like, it's a little bit of pressure off June. But friends, this is the thing that you need to know, is that on the 30th of June, we have got both Ghost Trick Phantom Detective and Master Detective Archives Rain Code on the same day. And just to drive home the importance of that is a major re-release from the creator of Ace Attorney and the new game from the creator of Danganronpa on the same day.
Yeah.
Just pray for me, because it is my Tears of the Kingdom moment. Like, I am just going to disappear on the 30th of June. I could not be more excited if I was getting married on June 30th, which probably says more about my attitude to marriage than anything else. But anyway, that's so excited for that day. I don't know what I'm going to do to contain my excitement as the day approaches.
Have you taken the next month off? Have you taken July off?
Well, I'm thinking about it.
Have you taken at least 30th of June off? Because they should name that a national holiday after you, based on the games that are releasing that day.
Damn, dude. No, it's really tempting. I should also just probably say, speaking of Tears of the Kingdom, and just as a little disclaimer, because we're technically a PC gaming podcast, Master Detective Archives is a Switch exclusive at launch. Sorry for anyone who suddenly got very excited and has now been let down.
But I'm sure it's fine.
I'm hopeful it's going to come to PC. Rachel and I both at one point had a weird memory of them announcing a PC port, and then we couldn't find any evidence of it, but
I remember I looked on the website and I was like, there's no PC release. There's actually no confirmed PC release for it. So I don't know what happened there.
That's weird.
That's very unusual.
Yeah, I have the weirdest false memory of like a Steam page for it. But clearly it can't.
I do as well.
Right, what's going on? What is going on? But anyway, yes. That is what I wanted you guys to know. June is stacked, especially if you have my very specific set of interests. You're not going to see much of me in July. And that's just, that's what I wanted everyone to know. Ahead of the podcast.
I'm so happy for you. That's incredible.
I'm so
the
excited.
month of Rebecca.
So excited. How's everyone else doing? We've talked a lot about me.
Good. I'm very excited for June, for all those releases as well. But as a reviews editor, I'm stressing out over how many good games are coming out and grabbing as many writers as possible to cover them, because I alone are on 3 of them. I was on 4 to review, and now I've got down to 3. So great, love that. But it is looking to be like an amazing month. I do this to myself.
That's so exciting.
I'm putting it in the calendar, best games of June. We'll revisit it. And
let's do it. Pop it in the spreadsheet. Definitely.
Yep.
Love
I can't
that
reach my
as an
keyboard
idea.
right now, but I will put it in the spreadsheet genuinely after we've finished. I don't know if you can tell, I've changed my setup, so my microphone's in front of my keyboard now, which should make it easier to record but harder to check things.
That's probably
sure
the better way
fine.
around of doing
Yeah,
it.
to
That's
be
what
fair.
I do as well. I love the lean with the pop shield where you can't see what you're typing. So when I tried to search for Master Detective there, I don't think a single letter was correct. Just going wild for it.
Yeah, I kind of just slam my hand on the keyboard, hoping that Google will correct me.
Weirdly, it always gets you where you need to be.
That's a mood.
I'm doing okay. My cat has spent the last week vomiting because she kept eating weeds in the garden.
Oh no.
And she was enjoying throwing them up. She was enjoying getting poo stuck onto her fur and then dragging it around the house and carpets. She's been Tokyo drifting around my room specifically, doing just a perfect semicircle of shit in the corners. That's happened maybe a couple of times over the last week. So she's feeling better. Glad to hear that. Good for her. Good for friend of the podcast, Cheryl.
Does she get the poop zoomies then? Like Wizard gets the poop zoomies.
She's just so excited when I go towards her with like a wet wipe, desperately trying to, wipe her ass. And then she'll be like, time to play. And then she'll just shoot off at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Wizard gets them as well.
Yeah, like that. He gets the poop zoomies. Normal zoomies, and then there's moments where, like I put in our work Slack chat, where he will just come home one day and be covered in blood for no obvious reason, and I'm like, okay,
is he all right?
Yeah, he's fine.
That's a powerful image of a warrior. It was.
Yeah, it was.
It was basically I have a black and white cat called Wizard. He has one eye, and when he looks like he's covered in blood, he looks like some sort of communist revolutionary, I swear to God. He very Les Mis, like Rebecca pointed out.
Very Les
down
Mis,
with the
yes.
Yeah, down with the bourgeoisie. I'm assuming he just found a bird or something. I don't think he's fast enough to actually hunt animals, but I don't know. He's lost a lot of weight, like good on him, but also probably not the best for us. So I think he just found something and just like. But it was so weird because of course at first you're like, oh my God, is everything okay? Like I'm like touching him to see if he flinches.
Yeah, of course.
But he didn't. He was totally satisfied and he was like, yeah, and what? And what? And like all the parts where it was stained is like white. Like he's black and white, but his whole front is like white first. It just really stood out. It was very weird. Very strange.
Like Rebecca said, though, it's a powerful image. We'll have to put that in the Discord so people can see Wizard in all of his glory.
He looks
glory.
great. It's a great picture.
And his grubby little toes. I'm like, where have you been? Why are your toes so grubby? Like, it's just grass and concrete out there. Like, where are you actively? Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, where have you ventured to?
Where has he gone? Yeah, I don't know. He's cats. Am I right?
Yeah.
That's why he's auditioning to be a video game protagonist. He saw all of the video games about cats last year, and like all the upcoming ones, and was like, I want to get in on that.
Oh, I did that thing when I was playing Stray, and I plonked him in front of the TV, and he was mesmerized for about like 10 seconds, and then couldn't give less of a fuck. And I was like, no, I wanted my cute moment where he was like, he couldn't give less of a shit. That's fine. I still love him.
Yeah, well, that's good. Is this why he's going out and committing unspeakable acts of violence?
I'm a good
because
mother.
You're disappointed in him and he's having to go out and just beat up other cats.
How dare you? I'm a good mother, I swear.
Oh, well, everyone's at wildly different emotional levels, so shall we get into some games in the first half of the year?
Before we do this, speaking of emotional levels,
of course.
Right, I am on so little sleep this week. I have not been sleeping well. I had a driving lesson at 7:30 for 2 hours, and let me tell you, driving when you're not, I'm never, the third time behind the wheel of a car, and I was maybe at like a 4 on the awake scale. Not great, not gonna lie, doesn't really put you in a good mood. I'm knackered right now, right? So I have bought a mango-juiced Monster, which I am now going to drink throughout the course of the podcast.
Oh, okay.
To observe the effect it has on me. Cheers.
Okay.
I have the exact same one in my fridge.
He is drinking it, I can confirm.
Cheers.
I don't know where we could have done a little cheers. God, these are vile, aren't they?
Absolutely not. They taste the best.
It's my favourite one. I went to 3 corner shops to get this. I support
the pink
local
one's really
businesses.
good.
I've never tried the pink one.
Pink one's good. Pink.
Oh,
I think
God,
it.
immediately. So also to add a little bit of texture and a bit of danger to this episode, is I'm also in the process of finding out whether my genetic condition has had an effect on my heart. So I think having a Monster is like not
Liam,
Oh my God!
So let's
you're
find out what happens.
You're going to explode during the podcast. You're
Let's
a ticking time bomb.
So much sympathy for you as a friend and as a person, but also just watching you. Why are you still drinking that? Like, why?
Long live the king.
God. Oh my god, right. Well, I was gonna say it's gonna be really exciting to hear you like slowly speed up throughout the course of recording, but now I'm worried that you're just gonna fall face first onto your desk at some point.
What better way to die than halfway a podcast recording, right?
Well, I mean, I feel like as the, today's main host, I'm the one who has to somehow work out what to do about it, and I don't know what to do about it. You collapse on your desk.
We've already got a plan for this. We replace me with Ed. It's fine.
Okay.
No, we don't. You die, and then you come back as a ghost.
That's true.
That's true.
Is very, very
but
true.
You're meant to present us with a mystery, and it's very clear what happened. So try to hang in there.
Yeah, it's not much of a... the monster killed you.
Yeah.
But what's the monster?
Assassin.
Metaphorical monster?
A monster killing me is appropriate.
Where on the monster fucking alignment chart does this monster fall?
It sounds like it's fucked me pretty hard if it's killed me.
I just really want to say something as well, just before we actually do get into this. So, Liam, you are drinking a very ill-advised mango monster. Rachel,
danger monster, yeah.
You have a Santa mug. You are drinking from the
Oh,
head
yeah,
of
you
Santa
do.
Claus right now for your coffee.
Look how cursed he is. If I put him at look at that nose.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's adorable. It's just also the end of May. I'm just...
Yeah, you got to put those in your cupboard until next Christmas. You can't be drinking out of a Santa mug in May.
I drink it all the way year round, and then I don't use it in December because that's just too cliche. Tasty Santa.
Okay, right.
Its...
So, again, to recap. Liam, Mango Monster.
Yes,
Rachel,
yes.
coffee from the Santa mug. I'm about to elope with 2 visual novels. Let's get going on our games of the first half of the year.
Hyped.
Why not?
Ready.
Okay, right. So I have 2 for this, and you guys have 1 each, right? So
yes,
yes.
So maybe I should start, and then we'll
round
circle around. Yeah. Should probably just for a bit of scene setting for this, so that obviously there are a lot of games that we've all played and enjoyed in the first half of this year. So we decided that today we're going to focus on ones that we've not really covered on the podcast that much. Just because we all love Dredge, I think it's fair to say, but we have basically dedicated an entire episode to Dredge at this point. So you can go, was it episode 8, I think? So if you haven't heard that one yet and you want to hear more about how much we love Dredge, then go back and listen to episode 8. Is it promotion? Is it cross-promotion if you just say go and listen to one of our older episodes, or is that what is that?
I think so.
I don't know. But yeah, anyway, lots of love for Dredge in episode 8, and so we're going to focus on a few things that we've only really mentioned in passing or haven't had a chance to mention it on the podcast for this episode. I don't really know why I feel like I need to put a disclaimer in here, because I'm if I just don't talk about a game, then people listening just won't know that anyway, it's weird. I just felt like I need to apologise to all the games I'm not mentioning today. I mean, you know me, I have a list, and the list is organised and itemised, and it has many annotations on it, and I've got a running ranking of every game that I've played so far this year. I'm quite weird. I
have the same thing. I also have a very detailed spreadsheet that I keep track of everything in my gaming library in.
I love it. We are both weird.
I have nothing. I just try and remember vaguely stuff that I've played this year potentially. And
Sweet summer child, you've hit 30 now.
Yeah, right. Well, it's not working out for me.
But do you not think there's something about how Rebecca and I barely finish games and you finish all of them? We're too busy documenting them in spreadsheets to actually play them.
It's so true. It's so true. I need to write every thought that I have at every point in every game. But also, I will say you've turned 30 now, so it's time to take that brain out of your skull, put it in a Google Doc, and not worry about it anymore.
The one brain cell. In a Google Doc it goes.
No, you need to keep the one. The one is the one that says things
I only have the one.
Drink out of the Santa mug.
Okay, I will.
It's the one that gives you those instructions. But yeah, no, it's yes. So
a Google Doc is a lot. I just can't be asked.
Oh, it's so good though.
But it's easier and easier. The more you set up, then you just open the Google Doc for the relevant thought, put it in, forget about it forever until the next time you open the Google Doc. It's like a blessed experience. It's so good.
I would argue it's never as fun as when you spend an entire weekend documenting all your games, and once it's done and you feel the hollow feeling inside your chest once again, I think it kind of loses its appeal at that point.
This is one thing that digital media definitely has over physical media, is like the worst feeling, or not the worst feeling obviously, but for dramatic purposes, the worst feeling is when you get all of your books off a bookshelf to like alphabetize them, and then you're so tired and you can't be asked to put them back on the bookshelf.
Oh, no, so that's cursed. No,
yeah.
you can't.
So
and they just live on the floor. What do you mean? You never put the books back.
You do put them back eventually, but you just look at them and you're like, "Ugh, this was a fun task when I started it, but now it's been like 6 hours and I'm tired. And I don't want to have to finish this job, but I need to like get back into my bed tonight, so I do need to finish this job right now." Ugh.
Move the pile from one side of the room to the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Off your bed.
Exactly.
I love the thought of Mick walking into whatever room you have your bookcase in and just being like, they're on the floor again.
He's going to listen to this and you've no idea how accurate what you just said is. Oh man.
He's slapping the dashboard right now, like, yes.
You know what, Liam? I'm actually going to time you in 15-minute intervals. And
that's a great idea. Document this.
I'm going to check in with you.
You got a little notepad out.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
This is a science experiment now. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, should I go for the gridded one, actually?
I think so, yeah.
It depends what sort of scientist you want to be. Oh, very nice. That is a really nice
stationery.
Oh, I love a notebook.
Oh, look at them. Oh, they're good.
Oh,
mushrooms.
look at these.
I like the mushroom pattern.
Little cats.
Little cats.
Cat on a windowsill.
That's a bloody cat on a windowsill there. Bloody hell.
Cactus,
look at these things on windowsills.
Sticky notes.
Lovely little cactus.
Anyway,
what am I providing to this?
Anyway, we're going for... Okay.
We're going to document the state of Liam every 15 minutes.
We need a baseline. So, Liam, how are you feeling?
What's
scale
the
of 1 to 10.
parameters?
The scale of 1 to 10, energy levels.
Okay, I would say right now I'm at like a 6. Which is good, because before I had a first few sips, I was at like a 2. I won't lie. So
Okay. So you're at a 6.
Yeah.
Wow. So a 6 in what? 5 minutes? A 2 from a 6.
That,
okay.
It's like a third of the can.
Jesus Christ. Okay. And how's your tummy feeling?
I mean, to be honest with you, most of the time, not good.
We'll just keep it to energy levels then. We'll keep it just the one question.
Yeah,
we don't want like a whole body.
No, I think a conversation about my indigestion would last longer than we have the time to record.
Okay.
So.
Got you. You're at a 6. I will check in 50. There's the
excellent.
15
Thank
minutes.
you.
Nice.
Oh, look at this.
Okay.
There's a bit of drama on the podcast.
Oh, I love it.
Place your bets. When will Liam explode? Will it be?
We're 21 minutes into the recording.
Right, okay, sorry. Yeah,
no, I mean, we're 21 minutes into the recording, and I think he will explode at...
Oh, yes. I'll write this down.
Sorry, I'm trying to make my bet. I'm trying to work this out.
Hold on.
Scientifically. I've got a real feeling about the 45-minute mark. I'm not going to lie. It's just a really strong intuition.
Okay.
I like that. It's a good intuition.
Liam, would you like to...
Yeah, what will I bet on this? I think by 51 minutes into this recording, I'm going to have a moment where I think I'm going to have a panic attack because my heart is palpitating.
Wow.
I think that'll be 51.
Fantastic. A panic attack recorded on a podcast. Incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah. A podcast about indie games.
Oh my God.
You remember when that person on Twitter highlighted us as one of the few outlets that are covering indie games in a professional way? Do you ever think about that tweet when we have conversations like this?
Do you think they've listened to the podcast?
If they recommended it, no.
Right. And I think it will hit you an hour in.
An hour in.
Okay, so
I like that.
45, 50,
optimistic. Optimistic. But I feel like you'll hit like maybe the 9 and then an hour, the 10 will kick in, the last little bit. Okay, anyway. Indie games.
Right. Yeah.
We're back
Indie games. Oh my God, right, yes. And this is the part where my meticulous script, I just talk about this game for a bit, which I always love because I do this every week. I'm like, talk about this game. And you know when your brain just blanks as soon as you're left floundering in the... But I do really want to talk about. First game that I want to talk about is one of my very favourite games of the first half of the year overall, and also within the sort of subcategory that is indie gaming, is Birth. which I believe, Rachel, you've also played.
Yes.
Did you review it, or was it Alice who reviewed it?
I did review it.
You did review it.
It was I.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah, it's a really, really charming little puzzle game. It's maybe 2 hours to complete, 3 hours. I know that I 100%ed it in a single sitting, which is, as we've already discussed, super rare for me to finish anything, no matter how short. So, yeah, no, it was a really lovely. I was initially drawn to it because it has a kind of Rusty Lake sort of visual vibe to it, and Rusty Lake is one of my favorite game series, one of my favorite indie game series, great puzzle games, very, very like Twin Peaks inspired. And it really wasn't that in the end. It wasn't very like Rusty Lake at all once you got into it, but I'm glad that kind of drew me in, because Birth is such a gorgeous game.
Yeah.
Like visually, it's very grisly. And I think that was where the comparison came from, because everyone looks like they're kind of made of animal carcasses.
Yeah, they do.
It's got like a beautiful sort of like soft cartoon art style. It's like very autumnal color palette. That part of it is beautiful, but then everyone's just made out of these weird like bits of skull and spine, and it looks very strange. But it's actually a very cute and wholesome game about making friends and about the connections between people, and I think inherent goodness of most people in the world, really. And it's very uplifting and affirming, and all of this is told completely wordlessly as well. I think there are maybe a couple of like shop signs in the game that have words on them, and other than that, it's all no dialogue, not much written down, as I say, just like the interactions between you and the environment, telling this story as you go into various little shops and houses in this city street. So the concept behind Birth is that your character, who you can build at the beginning, which is an interesting little touch, and is a bit of an odd part of it, because you can really develop this character, this avatar that you then don't see for most of the game. And if there is one criticism I have of the game, and it is literally the only one, it is that by the end of the game I'd forgotten that was kind of a custom avatar. When I saw them again, I'm not sure. It was cute, but it didn't kind of have payoff. And that is me reaching for anything negative to say about this game, because everything else about it I love so much, and that is not even really a negative, it's just a neutral. But yeah, your little avatar has moved to this new city where they don't know anyone, and so they're just kind of going around the businesses and the other homes on their street and interacting with the other people they meet. And you sort of solve environmental puzzles in every location, and it kind of results in someone there. It's not kind of like getting what they want, but you kind of advance their story in some way, and then in return you get a little piece of person, which is usually a bone or something.
How weird. Yeah. Okay.
And you take that, and that goes towards making your friend. And it's just so weird. It is as weird as it sounds, but so help me if I wasn't incredibly uplifted by the end of 2 hours with this game.
Oh wow.
And it is beautiful. I'm just saying beautiful a lot because it really is. And it's weird because I'm not sure what constitutes a spoiler for this game. I think it would be just detailing the puzzles, which I'm carefully not doing, mostly because I can't remember most of them because I played it a couple of months ago. But yeah, in terms of what you take away from the story, I think it's going to be incredibly personal, because I have for a wordless narrative, I have such a strong feeling about what this game was conveying. And I think that's to its credit, but also I feel like someone else playing it might come away with a slightly different take on its core message of like bonds and relationships. And it's one of those games where you want to kind of shout about it to everyone and be like, play it and then tell me what you think. And so yeah, I just want to throw out that recommendation first and foremost. Birth is absolutely going to be featuring, usually at Rock Paper Shotgun we do a games of the first half of the year, which nobody calls by my great acronym GOTY or GOTY, I can't decide how to pronounce it, but we do a feature on the site most years at around the start of July, and it's definitely going to be one that I put forward into that. But if you want just like a really cute 2-3 hour indie puzzle game to make you smile on a sad day in the meantime, definitely check it out. It's so good.
Yeah, I would agree with it totally being on that list as well. It's very charming. Very I found it to be quite Tim Burton-y, where like there's a lot of humor in how
Okay.
kind of gross it is. So like at one point you literally have to like open up someone's arm, root around in their arm, past their bone and like collect a key. And there's like these squishy noises and you're like, ugh, but it's also kind of funny.
There's a lot of eye sockets going on. Sockets going on.
But yeah, I totally agree with that going on the list. It's very charming. Yeah, we met Madison Carr, the developer, at PAX, and she was amazing. She's such a lovely person. So yeah, shouts to Maddie, because her games in general, I've only played this one. I'd love to play her other stuff, but they all kind of handle, themes of being an adult, being lonely in a city, feeling imposter syndrome, or noticing that your friends are doing better than you in life. Like they're all kind of things that, young adults go through. So it's very nice. Yeah. Very cute game.
That sounds great.
Grown-up parable feel to it that I think the world needs more of. Just telling you how to navigate the world as a 20 or 30 something who suddenly realizes that they're the adult and they have no idea how to cope with it. Yes, I'm down for that. I have also not played any more of her games, but I would love to after this.
For sure. This is a good place to start if you haven't, for anyone listening as well. Like, I feel like it's a perfect introduction to like her world, because all her games are very much in the same style. They're very much in the same humor. So I think Birth is a good introduction. Hell yeah. Who's next?
Well, I was about to say, as podcast overlord, do I just nominate someone?
Yeah, you just pick.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. Hold on. Where are we at? 30 minutes in. So, Rachel, if you do yours, then we should be about to hit the target moments for Liam's development.
Yes, you're right. Just slowly watching Liam vibrating.
He's still drinking it, by the way.
I feel great. Rachel, please. What's your first?
My game is Season. I had a lot of picks, but I've realised that we talked about them a lot. A couple of mine were Space of the Unbound. I also really liked Chia. I liked Dredge. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing out, but the one that I hadn't talked about was Season, which, for me is very much going to be on that list of like one of the better games I've played of this year. Kind of a rocky start because Season found itself in a bit of controversy when the ex-studio head was accused of sexual and verbal harassment within the studio. And so after they removed said person, the game was kind of tainted from then on, which is obviously no one in the studio's fault, but that's basically how everyone kind of was introduced to this very gentle, very pleasant game, was through these horrible circumstances. But yes, so Season is a bicycle adventure game where you play as a young woman who is traveling through the Tieng Valley, which is a community of people who live in a valley that is soon going to be washed away by a flood. Everything will be removed. People are moving out, people are leaving, and this young woman is recording the last hours of this community before inevitably everything that they've known is washed away with this flood. And it is thought-provoking. It is gorgeous to look at. It's fun to play. You have free roam of this community on a bicycle. You can go wherever you want. You can speak to whoever you want. There's no structure to it. And it's kind of a mix between an exploration game where you're learning more about the place you're in, the history of that place, which is very complicated. Different people have different perspectives on their time there, good or bad. Stuff that has, complicated histories, essentially, of this valley. So you have the exploration part. There's also a bit of mystery to it as well. In this world, a season, there's no such thing as like years or centuries or decades. They judge each period of time by a season. So you can have a season of war, a season of refuge. So that's how they structure the histories of their world. So the previous season was one of war and conflict, and this season is one of the people coming to terms with what happened and how that history has embedded itself in the valley environmentally and within its people. And so you're exploring that on your bicycle, bicycling round. There's also a bit of mystery to it as well. Like, why is this flood happening? Like, where did this idea come from? It's very surreal in the way that it's kind of magical realist as well. Like, there are flowers that record people's like passing thoughts, so you can like listen to those. And at one point there's a huge valley full of them and it's like overwhelming. You're like, oh, there's so many voices. It's very mystical, I guess, but it's not so much religious. It's very... I think magical realist is the right word. It's definitely that. There's very strange things, but it doesn't feel out of place. So there's a bit of that to it as well. And then the third part is as you go through, you have a scrapbook that you can fill with photos that you can take. You have a recording device to record sounds. So if you hear, I don't know, some cows like mooing, you can record them and stick it in your scrapbook. Or if you, I don't know, like the look of a tree, you can record that. Or the sound of breeze going through wind chimes, you can record that. Everything goes into the book. Oh, you can also find like objects, so like stamps or letters, anything that's like small and you can fit into a scrapbook, like you can pick those up and then rearrange the book however you like, which is really nice, a lovely touch. So like everywhere that you go, each area is dedicated 2 pages. You fill those 2 pages with stuff that you think is important, stuff that you personally have seen. So like a different player might have a different idea or perception of a place that's different from yours because you notice different things. Wow. So yeah, it's essentially a scrapbooking bicycle travel log. Yeah, it's really good. I had a really good time playing it. I thought it was very nuanced in what it was trying to say, its messages it was trying to, evoke within you as you were playing. It's about less than 10 hours. I played it in January, so I think it's quite a long time ago. So 7 hours, maybe? It depends, If you're a stop and smell the flowers kind of person, you're gonna be gone in this world for many, many hours. If you want to, GTA like mini bike drive through this game, like there's nothing stopping you. Kick flipping, you can't kick flip, but kick flipping your way through, I know. It's going to take you about maybe 4 hours, but it's not really supposed to be, sped through. You're supposed to soak it in. And yeah, it was very surprising. I honestly thought it was just going to be a very pretty romp through a very nice area. And it had this really hard-boiled story underneath it. So I was very impressed. So yeah, Season, for sure, it will be one of my games of the year, 1,000%.
I am so glad that you brought this one up because Season had been on my radar for a while. And just because of when it launched, I've totally slept on it until now, despite being really hyped for it ahead of time. It looked... in advance, like it would compare very favourably to something like Heaven's Vault.
Yes, that's a really good comparison.
And from what you said, it sounds like it's got that same kind of feel of like documenting a society, but from a slightly different viewpoint, but with the same kind of like freedom to move within your own ideas, if that makes sense. That's kind of bumped it back up my list to try and play by the end of the year for sure. And I would just as well, because like Heaven's Vault, I love it, but it's one of my partner's like favorite games ever. So I've been kind of saving Season to play with him as well. So I might have to this is how you find out, Mick. We're going to play Season.
Heaven's Vault is great. I bounced off it because of the puzzles. I really want to return to it one day, but I did not have the brain power. Season is very like, there's no puzzles. You just bicycle through, and then when you're done, you're done.
I love that.
So it's a bit different there in that respect, but it's very similar what you said, like the community aspect of it, recording history, for sure.
That's a really useful distinction to make though, and I do think as well, because Heaven's Vault is another game that we co-played, a second brain definitely helps with Heaven's Vault, I think. As with a lot of puzzle solving games.
I was like, it's like one of those games where you like sit down, pay attention, like get a notepad, this is what's going on. And I just didn't have it in me at the time. And I've always wanted to return to it.
I can see why you'd have to be in the right mood or have a second person whose enthusiasm can carry you through your moments of right, just like dropping off it for sure. But But yeah, season. Oh my god, that sounds
gorgeous.
Sounds fabulous. Definitely
right.
have to
Great.
put that back in my list. Right, we are at 38 minutes. So I don't know if you want to give an update.
Yeah, I clicked the pen.
Right. Let me just.
What are your energy levels? Get in touch with your. Beep, 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 beep.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm at an 8.
Oh, this is escalating.
I think I could fight like a particularly angry pig, not a boar, but like a farm pig. I feel like I could probably take one of them on in a fist fight.
All right.
I feel like I could backflip onto the bonnet of a car, or at least attempt to backflip onto the bonnet of a car. And I don't think I'd be that embarrassed if I really hurt myself. That's where I'm at right now.
Okay, so farm pig, backflip car. Got it. 8.
Oh, there we go. That's the Twitter snippet for you. Sorted itself out once again. Farm pig, backflip car, no context. I refuse to give context.
Just that. It's going to be a 4-second Twitter clip of Rachel just saying those 4 words.
That's like some sort of what is it, the thing where they use it to sort of geolocate you by 3 random words and they can pinpoint you anywhere on Earth.
Oh yeah, I was going to say it sounds like a code you'd do to wake up a Soviet sleeper agent.
Yeah,
like someone listening now is just
or something for sure. it's hey when Liam keels over from his mango monster.
When?
Yep. Not
if ghosts are real and if the afterlife exists, can you please come back and say farm pig backflip car to one of us, and then we'll know.
Me and Rebecca will have to have a seance.
Oh yes,
farm pig backflip car. Farm pig back. Oh my god, maybe not. It's such a tongue twister.
Yeah,
it's quite hard. You have to have the Ouija board in the middle, and you'd have to do like a summoning circle with like copies of Resident Evil 4.
Yes, such a good idea.
Thirsty Leon memes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Pictures of Leon with his back tattoo.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. We know the ones. We've seen them.
Yeah. Oh, you know the ones. Yeah. We know
they know the ones.
I'm obsessed with. Capcom know the ones.
It's canon as far as I'm concerned.
I am actually playing the PC version with that mod activated, and it's making me very happy.
Yes.
Should I say mine?
Yes, definitely. I mean, do you have any more comments you want to make about Leon S. Kennedy's tramp stamp before?
I do. I have a lot of comments to make, but we don't have the time here, I don't think, or the energy. Put that pen down, Rachel.
I mean,
all right.
Okay.
Right, you know what? 5 minutes are closing in, so if you've got any comments you want to make, I'd make them now. I've got a feeling about this.
All right, okay. Yeah, that's good. I'm starting to sweat quite profusely, actually. It's quite embarrassing.
Got it.
So the 2 games that I think are my favourites from the year, but we've already covered on other podcasts, are Against the Storm, which is a roguelike city builder, and Dredge, which is a game we all absolutely love. But today I'd like to talk about a game that I think as of when this podcast is released, I think this game has just launched.
There was a game I forgot, guys.
Oh no.
Gollum. I forgot.
Yeah, it's Gollum. Yeah, it's about Gollum.
Is it Gollum? Liam, is your pick Gollum?
I've been playing the sexiest video game of 2023.
Do not.
Excellent indie game Gollum.
Shit, I can't talk about this until the 1st. Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm so sorry.
But
really?
It's okay. We'll work something out. But I'm just thinking, can we go a day late and then put something on and be like, for an embargo, we have to delay it by a day just this once or something? Is that something we should do, or should we? It's up to you. It's totally up to you.
Or can you talk about it in the not the abstract, but like around it? Oh no, because I kind of want to hear what you have to say. If I'm honest.
I know, right? I'm being very selfishly excited here.
Should we just delay it for a day then?
Let's delay it for a day.
Delaying it by a day. The one person I'll have to fight off will be Yolanda, who will be furious.
Friends of the podcast will not take this well, I fear.
No, they will not.
But yeah, we can delay it by a day and then just have everything back on the normal schedule. I'm sure that people will be understanding.
Thank you. It's very kind. Sorry, that's on me. I thought it was okay. It looked like you were making a note there, Rachel. Like you were writing down forgetful.
We've got 50 seconds to go.
I actually was right. Because I've been thinking of like, what do we call our fans? And then I was like, well, there's something got to be in like Discovery, like, and then I thought recovery, and I was like, no, absolutely nothing, no.
Indie-splorers.
Indie-splorers is way better. My brain just went straight to recovery, and I was like, oh, it's probably, I don't like the road I'm going down.
I'm a little recovery.
But yeah, Indie Explorers is definitely the better one. Anyway,
I like
yes,
Indie
Liam.
Explorers. Right, so apologies. This podcast is a day late because I didn't realise this was under embargo until the day after the pod normally goes out. So blame me entirely. In my defence, I'm jacked. No.
Jacked.
3, 2, 1. How are you feeling?
Really bad, actually.
Oh dear. Bad. What number are we on?
Yeah, it's still by day, but in my defence, I've got so much taurine in my body, I am physically shaking.
Oh, no.
So the game I've been playing that I'm being absolutely blown away by is Slayers X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of the Slayer. I have spoken about this game on our first podcast about the games we're most looking forward to coming out this year. This is by Big Z Studios Inc., which isn't the actual developers, but we'll go with the fiction of the game for the time being. So this is a retro shooter. It's not a boomer shooter. I actually object to the word, the classification of boomer shooter, because the people who made those games in the 90s were not boomers, they were Gen X. So if we really want to get very specific, they're just retro 90s shooters, but nevertheless. This is a retro shooter that I'd say is in the style of Duke Nukem 3D, where you play as a character called Zane Lofton, who is a teenage member of the X-Slayers, which is a group of superheroes who are protecting the world from evil using their hack blood powers. In the town of Boise, Idaho, I think I'm saying that right. Boise? Boise? How do you say it?
I think it's
Boise, Idaho. It's been attacked by psychos, which is this like cyber cult, and they kill your mom and you have to defeat them to get a doohickey. So this is a spin-off of Hypnospace Outlaw. Again, we both really like, and we've spoken about on this podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's really important to state that this isn't like a straight spin-off. It's meant to be, the fiction of the game is that Zane, who is a character from Hypnospace, who is this teenage lad that just used to cause mischief on this fictional internet, started making this game when he was about 15, 16 as a mod for a fictional shooter in the Hypnospace lore called Cataclysm. He never finished it, but now he's 37 years old in the modern era, and he's decided to finish it off and publish it. So the very concept of this game is so niche.
That is incredible, yeah.
I feel like if you just bought the game, it does have an introductory cutscene where it sort of explains what this game is and its origins. But I do think if you don't go into it knowing all of the additional stuff, you might struggle a little bit with it. So what I will say as a shooter, it's really, really fun. It's got really fun weapons. It's basically got the weapons that you could imagine a teenager doodling in the back of their school book. It's got things like, what if a minigun also had blades on it? So if you got really close to someone, it would cut them up. A sludge launcher that is a grenade launcher, but rats fall out of the grenades after they explode and then attack enemies as well. What if your melee weapon was a giant S, but it's done like in a really cool, like, metal way?
Oh, tell me it's the S that we all draw on a school book.
It's not, unfortunately, but it's very similar.
The one that's
yeah.
like...
Yeah, I like that. Yep, the 3 lines. And you get hack blood power when you kill enemies, and when your hack blood is all charged up, you can like shoot projectiles out of this. And really good levels as well. It really nails the structure of like a classic 3D shooter. It has looping levels, hidden keys, monster closets, and secrets to find. And it looks the business as well, which is really impressive because it's built in Unity. This isn't built in an old school engine. They've just really nailed the vibe in a modern engine. And cutscenes are maybe one of my favorite bits of this game because they're done in the same style as like early 3D PlayStation 1 games. Specifically, I think they look like Blood. They're like claymation models.
Oh, right. I know exactly what you mean all of a sudden. Yes, that's just...
Yes, so cursed. They look brilliant. As a shooter, it's very good fun. Really, really good. The actual act of moving through these levels, exploring them, finding keys, shooting people, brilliant. Really, really good. The story in the presentation, I'm saying this with love, it's aggressively obnoxious. I don't know whether or not it's going to be for everyone. If you close your eyes and imagine a game made by an angsty teenage 15-year-old it's pitch perfect to that idea. It's like all the enemies are cyber hackers with big trench coats, and like there's flying brains with Joker hats and piles of shit that come towards you. And when you kill them, like Zane says out loud, "Take that, you turd." And it's so full of like teenage anger, and it has new metal in every level. There's a fictional band in Hypnospace called Seepage, which is basically Linkin Park, and they've recorded a bunch of new Seepage songs for this game. So you're like killing all these piles of poo while, you know, new metal plays in the background. But what I love about it is that it's like weirdly grounded and has like an earnest heart to it. Because a kid's designed this, the worldview is quite small. So even though there are like these secret bases and evil lairs, like it's set in Boise, Idaho, which is just really funny. And most of what you're exploring are like apartment blocks and trailer parks and the dollar store where teenage Zane works. And, you know, there's posters for like the Boise Potato Festival, and it's all like quite mundane. The evil villain is a guy called Melvin, who's your boss at the dollar store, who I think is meant to be in a relationship with Zane's mom. And for Zane, that's clearly quite difficult for him to like understand. So he like really villainizes Melvin, and like that's why he's the, you know, antagonist of this piece. So it's an odd thing. I don't know whether it's for everyone. And by the time this podcast comes out, my review will be on the site. But I love it, and I love what it's doing. And it's one of those things where you play it and you're just like, what a brilliant thing to exist. Like, this is exactly the kind of game I do want to play, where it's just a wild idea that a developer had this very specific creative vision and just ran with it. Because really, the appeal of this could be quite narrow, because there are references in this game to brands from Hypnospace, which are also fictional, but they're parodies of fictional brands. So it's almost like it's like 2 layers deep, maybe 3 layers deep. And I think that might be quite inaccessible to people who maybe didn't vibe with Hypnospace. And I'm not sure whether people who loved Hypnospace are going to be on board for like a retro shooter. So it's a really interesting thing. But I mean, it was bankrolled by a publisher. No More Robots, you know, gave this the green light. They're publishing it. They're doing this alongside the follow-up to Hypnospace. It's not long. I played about 2 hours and I'm pretty much at the end. And I just think it's great. I just think it's really fun. And just a wonderful, weird little oddity. And that's, you know, what I love about indie games, is that these things can exist, and they exist because why not? And that's the only reason why they should be there. So yeah, it's good fun. Really, really like it.
Yeah, I'm watching the trailer now. It looks chaotic, wild. But that's nice, right? Is that they obviously like have these like moments, these windows of like looking into this kid's life. And that is so sweet. I like that. That's because I'm looking at the trailer, I'm looking at the screenshots, it looks great. But I wouldn't expect that. And I like that aspect of the game, that it's like, it's got a bit more tenderness to it than, you know, all the shits and toxic waste barrels and cyborgs would first let on. Oh, I like that.
It's a lot of that, but it's nice. Like walking around Zane's apartment, and because his mom is meant to have died at the start of the game, and the way that he like has represented her room in this, you know, blocky Duke Nukem way, and it's just brilliant. And you can look down and see his
the baggy jeans.
Yeah, the huge baggy jeans. Yeah.
With the chain.
Yeah. I used to wear a chain on my jeans when I was a teenager. I was one of those.
Yeah.
I
sweaties, we used to call them up north.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sweaties. Yeah.
Sweaties.
Oh wow! I briefly experimented with the whole chain jeans thing. I don't think it took in my case.
On the way a bit, to be fair. I used to catch on my bike, and I used to fall off my bike a lot. But
that is such a teenage thing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You looked good though.
No, I didn't at all.
You looked good. Sans the moments where you were falling off the bike because your chain was stuck in the bike.
Before we move on, let me quickly, there was actually I think when I spoke about Slayer's X on the site, I shared a picture of me from that era. I'm going to share it with you.
Oh my God.
I do also, while we're in a bit of a pause, just want to say congratulations on making it through minute 51, which I believe was your guess, Liam, as to the inevitable.
I'm surprised. I've
Collapse.
just sent it to the Discord.
Amazing.
Let's see.
Yeah, there was a moment where you kind of, you stopped to collect your thoughts during minute 51, where I thought, this is it, this is going to happen. But you're okay. I'm happy you're okay. This picture is amazing.
This is incredible. What t-shirt? Is that a band t-shirt? What t-shirt is that?
System of a Down, I think.
System of a Down. It's not any System of a Down t-shirt. It's a knockoff System of a Down t-shirt. I think I bought in Paris underneath the Eiffel Tower on a family holiday.
And those Vans? Are we seeing a pair of Vans? Oh, Etnies?
I think they might be DCs. I think I was a big DC wearer.
All right.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
And as you can see, all my friends had long hair, but I can't grow my hair out long. It's too thick. So that's what it used to look like. Yeah. So maybe that's why I'm relating
this is
so
incredible.
much to this game, is because I was Zane when I was a teenager.
It's just so special to look at this picture and know that we definitely would have been friends if we'd known each other when we were teenagers.
Oh, you might be the only person who's ever looked at that photo of me from that age and hasn't immediately said, I would have bullied the shit out of you if I'd known you when we were that
guy in my friend group at that age.
Oh, yeah, Rebecca, we would have been mates.
We would definitely have been mates. It's like actually nostalgic for me. If you just got a little bit more product in your hair, it would be eerie that the resemblance.
Yeah, I think I was more emo than grungy. Definitely the razor tumbler hair.
Incredible. Oh my god, really?
I had 2 friends with that hairstyle. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
That's incredible.
But that was
What an era, eh?
Incredible, yeah.
Do you think anyone will go back and look at that era nostalgically the same way that people do with like the 80s and 90s?
That's a really good question, because like I have nostalgia for the 80s and I wasn't even born yet, because it's so many things from the 80s are like iconic in a very deep level cultural way, and of course that's partly because you've got creators for whom that was the kind of like baseline teen memory maker who are now quite influential, right? So it could happen. It could, if I ever become like a high level, influential figure in any sort of entertainment industry like that, 2004 will be our baseline year for sure.
Oh my
so
God.
Presumably someone's going to do it, right? Like at some point in, someone's going to make the 2004 equivalent of Stranger Things, and I will watch the hell out of it when I'm in my 50s.
Oh my god!
True, actually.
They're all playing Club Penguin instead of Dungeons and Dragons.
Habbo Hotel.
Oh, Habbo Hotel.
Oh
god, I forgot about Habbo Hotel.
And Neopets.
Yeah. Yes.
I was never into Neopets.
The Holy Trilogy.
They're all, instead of like the little in Stranger Things or whatever, and they have like walkie-talkies, it'll be like live journals. Everyone just commenting on each other's live journals to
Bebo or Bebo or what the fuck was it called?
Oh, I forgot about Bebo. Yeah, Bebo.
Oh my god.
Girl.
Pixel, that was a big one at one point.
Newgrounds, the Impossible Quiz, do not.
Forgot about the Impossible Quiz. Miniclip was a...
All right, left field idea, guys, but do you want to... Shall we pitch this to... Maybe not Netflix, they've annoyed me, but like, get together and pitch this to... I don't know. Disney Plus feels like a stretch. Amazon are commissioning a lot of stuff. Amazon Prime.
Our pitch is just us listing objects and things.
And it's like literally, no, because we just go in, we're
Panda
like, okay,
Pops.
it's just literally Stranger Things. Even get the same kids, like get the younger kids from Stranger Things to be in it for all I care. And it's just like, replace every cultural reference in Stranger Things with a cultural reference from 2004. Go. It's gonna print money in about 10, 15 years. Do it.
I love that. Yeah, that's so good. Hopper trying to work out the mystery by messaging Joyce on MSN.
Girl. The drama that would go on MSN after school.
Yeah, you're in like a joint chat room and you can't work out how to like DM, and so it's just
the actual fight or flight where someone nudges you in MSN.
Oh god, yeah, the loudest noise ever conceived. Yeah.
Oh god,
I miss MSN though. Wasn't it great when you weren't constantly contactable though? Like people could contact you for 2 hours a night when you're on MSN, and then otherwise you're off the grid.
Yeah,
like, I miss that. It's just the best.
Your best friend calling the house phone.
Yeah. Don't stay on for too long. We only get calls. Call back after 9. We get free calls after 9.
Okay, I didn't know.
Keep it down.
I didn't know that.
It's your bedtime.
You didn't know that? Yeah. I was never allowed to use the phone to call my friends before 9 because you got free phone calls after 9.
What?
So yeah,
that's
like
nuts.
house phone to house phone was free after a certain time.
Oh wow. Oh, actually, speaking of nostalgia, this is a good seg if you're happy, Liam, to move on from.
I am. Yeah, no, I'm done. Yeah.
Just because this is genuinely has.
Liam,
has
are you?
so...
We're scared. Are you happy, Liam?
Oh,
Liam,
20
are you
seconds.
happy?
20 seconds to the 1 hour mark.
Let me have another sip. Oh, the cat's
Have a little sipple, and then we'll grade you the number.
How do I feel?
How are you feeling,
I'm at
babes?
like a 9. I'm at a solid 9 right now.
All right.
I feel like if I ran hard enough at a wall, I would pass through it and be fine on the other side with no damage to me or the wall.
Okay.
I think I feel closer to an animal than I ever have before.
Okay.
I feel like naturally we shouldn't be constrained by the chore of work and the burden of money.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. I do feel like I may start eating raw meat. I think that would be good for me. It sounds like I'm going to turn into one of those Sigma meals. This is not.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, really, the realistic answer is I'm just like slightly more caffeinated, not as tired as I was at the start of the podcast, and sweating profusely, to be honest.
Okay,
This is making me do nothing but sweat. Sweaty, very interesting.
Okay.
Are you
So
actually
we've got-
writing all this down?
So we've got run through walls, animal instincts, anti-capitalist, lots of sweating. Was there anything else I missed?
Oh, I mean, nothing of importance.
Oh yeah,
What?
that was it. What is it when you're just like completely? Oh, nihilist.
Oh, wow. What I particularly enjoyed about that was that there is still a photograph of teenage Liam on my screen making hard eye contact with me as adult Liam lists this bizarre string of symptoms.
What
and I felt
happened
like,
to that boy?
I felt like I was being talked to by the same person in 2 timelines. It was like, you know, all I've had is a cup of tea, and I'm having like almost contact experience of some of these very surreal thoughts that you're bringing up.
Or maybe I'm so caffeinated, it is me talking to you through 2 timelines. I've gone back and I'm now speaking through 2 mouths.
You're phasing in and out like so fast.
I am.
Holy
That's why I'm sweaty, because I'm me in the now, and I'm also that lad wearing a huge System of a Down t-shirt and very large jeans on what looks like a very warm summer's day.
When you
in
come back as a
Discord.
ghost, you're going to come back as System of a Down, Liam.
Yes.
System of a Down,
No,
baggy.
what did I do so wrong in life that I come back as that dweeb? Are you kidding me? I'd rather hell. I'd rather be sent to hell.
If the seance goes wrong.
I cannot imagine what unforgivable crimes I'd have had to have done over the last 15 years. What cruel, angry God would condemn me to a life on this earth is that sweaty sack of uncoolness.
To be fair, you did call me out on Ori, so...
Shit!
Yeah, we got evidence of that as well. We've got documentary evidence. There we go. Put that
My
next
heart
to the summoning
explodes, and
circle.
from the hole in my chest, that version of Liam just seeps out in this ethereal form.
Oh my
I've now
god.
done my snort laugh twice. Oh my god, this is going to be a nightmare to edit. I'm so sorry.
The audio waveform of me shouting there is not good. I'm going to
It's
tell you,
just
it
a
looks like a
chunk.
disaster. Yeah, it's just like a solid block of green.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh,
Oh, right.
So we'll call that a 10 then, shall we?
Yeah.
The
I
outburst?
think we might have hit. That might have been 10. Yeah, it might
I
be
feel like
downhill
we
from
all
there.
hit 10. I feel like it was quite special.
I've brought you all with me. I apologise profusely.
No, this was all we could have hoped for and more, I feel.
Did you have another game, Rebecca?
I did, and you know what? We destroyed my beautiful segue, but I don't even care. Because I was going
I'm
to say...
so sorry.
No. It was entirely worth it.
Do you want to say the segue again?
I'll recap it.
Yeah,
for anyone who's just zoned back in, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were talking about teenage nostalgia, which makes it an appropriate moment, I think, to go into my second game that I wanted to highlight for our games of the first half of the year, which is Tiny Life. And I know what you're thinking. I've talked about Tiny Life already on the podcast, but it has since come out in early access. So I feel like worth revisiting Tiny
Definitely.
Life. And in case you haven't listened to our second episode, I think was the Tiny Life episode. Tiny Life is I know it's a while ago, is a pixel art sort of heavily inspired by the original The Sims, which is why it's really ticking all of those like early to mid 2000s nostalgia boxes for me. And yeah, I've got notes on this because I was playing it very kindly. The dev gave me a code, so I've been playing it pretty consistently all year, but since it came out in early access on May the 3rd, I think there's been sort of little updates. There's just gradually adding stuff in over time that's kind of new to me, even as someone who's been playing it for about 6 months at that point. And it just bears repeating. I've gushed about this game so much, but it is so good. If you remember, especially, I think, those early generations of The Sims, The Sims 1 especially, and also The Sims 2, it has that challenge to it, which is my main feeling now, having played the early access version. Is I don't know how much original Sims 1 you guys ever played, but remember how hard as nails it was to get anything done, because needs are so like they can't ever eat enough to get full, and they can't ever sleep enough to get well rested, and it's got that. And I know this must sound really weird if you've not played The Sims 1, because this sounds like a criticism, but I'm saying this as an absolute yes, benefit, love it to Tiny Life, is that it takes you right back to that. It presents a challenge which has been missing from the mainline Sims games for a while, I think, and I'm just so hooked on it.
Yeah, you were right. One thing I didn't really like about some of the later Sims games, and I thought this was especially true in The Sims 4, but please do correct me if I'm wrong. I realize I'm saying this to the Sims expert right now. Was that it was the edges had maybe been sanded down a bit too much?
I think every game has, as you say, has sort of like eased off on the actual the management pressure of that part of the game. I think that it is just like a slope or a curve or whatever. You see The Sims 1 so hard, The Sims 2 a little bit hard, Sims 3 kind of made it a lot easier, Sims 4 just again refined on that, making it even easier again, and there's not really any particular challenge to like needs balancing. But yeah, Tiny Life emulates The Sims 1 in such a beautifully nostalgic way for me, in that it's not that it's hard, because there was a point where I was playing it and I was like, is this too hard? But I also reached the point where, when it all starts to come together and you kind of like, you start to get it, you get enough like funds together to start getting them slightly better stuff, and then all of a sudden their moods are in the right place, and you can get things done and you get promotions, and that's more money. It's that, the actual challenge and then reward cycle, which I think is one of the things, although I do, obviously, as the RPS Sims fanatic, I love all of this. I genuinely love every iteration of The Sims. I've had a great time with all of them. Yeah. But I have definitely more affection for the earlier generations, partly because of nostalgia, but also partly I'm starting to realise now, having played a bit of Tiny Life, because, there's an actual gameplay challenge involved, and that's what I really like about a lot of it, is having things to work towards. And I totally adore it. I'm just this is right. I'm gonna do my nerdy confession. Confessional. Yep. And I think this is also quite a nice way to round off our games of the first half of the year chat, which is that one of the things that I love to do with The Sims, and I've been doing it with The Sims for the last few years, is I go through intermittently throughout the year the games that I've really been enjoying from that year, and I make Sims of the main characters to kind of like help me track my game of the year votings as well. So I use it as like a sort of like visual tracker. And this year I'm doing it in Tiny Life instead, because I'm like, you know what? We've got a new tool for this, and it feels really apt to do it in Tiny Life, and I'm having so much fun with it. So yeah.
That is honestly incredible.
I absolutely adore that as an idea. That's so fun.
I had no idea you did it. Yes, that is so fun. Oh my god.
I think I suspected you did this because you said the other day you were making Honkai characters in The Sims.
I was. I've also made Leon Kennedy in Tiny Life. So.
Oh.
And you've not sent me this?
Oh no, because it's okay. So basically, I'll tell you this now. I was gonna keep it, but maybe I should pitch the idea. Something that I thought would be really fun at some point was because we've had some requests to do episodes with video, which I know that we're still a way off working out how to do that. Mm-hmm. But right, visual idea, quiz time. I'm gonna make a bunch of game characters in like 16-bit tiny life. You guys, you have to figure out.
I'm so up for supplementary Indiescovery video ideas. So yeah, that's such a good idea.
Leon Kennedy for free, but I'll mix him in there, and you have to work out when it's Leon Kennedy time.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. That's amazing.
I'd be so down for that.
He's doing very well, by the way. It's very, very
Thank you. I need to know how my boy is doing.
Yeah, no, he's good.
Your son.
Is he well fed? Is he happy?
He's so well fed.
Is he happy without his dad?
He's become friends with the local librarian, which I think is adorable because she's like kind of a very like, you know, big glasses and big hair, like let me help you find that book character, and I just like Leon Kennedy going up to her and being like, can you tell me about fiction, please?
Leon doesn't know how to read.
Well, exactly.
That's my beautiful himbo boy.
Genuinely, that is the narrative that's been running in my head every day I send him to the library.
Like he pretends to know how to read. To speak with her. Oh, Leon.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know. I think that's probably nice. How I choose to endorse Tiny Life. So there we go. That's
incredible endorsement.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that you do that. I'm not over it. Sorry, I'm not over it.
No, it's cool.
Have you done this every year? Obviously not in Tiny Life, but in The Sims, every year you...
every year that I've worked in games journalism, certainly I've used it too, because of how we organise our votes at the end of the year when we vote on things like GOTY lists. I've used it to kind of tally my votes in a more interesting visual way, because... Yeah, it's just fun. It's just fun to make characters.
Whenever you present from now on, like a list of games in an order, I'm going to like sit for hours and just because the amount of thought it's incredible. Like the depth of reasoning and like consideration that goes into your picks is genuinely enviable. Like the way your brain works is incredible. It really is. Like, I love that. You're like, I'm going to take this thing I love into another game I love and then like use that as parameters for, you know, weighting up my options for the end of the year. Like, wow. Holy shit.
That's my metaverse. That's my...
I love, finally a good metaverse.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm glad that it has pleased you all so much.
It has.
That I do these deeply nerdy things in my free time. Yeah, Tiny Life is great. Should we go on to games we are looking forward to in the second half of 2023?
Let's do it.
Yeah, go on then.
Shall we have another check-in, Liam? How are you doing, or do we feel like we've peaked now? Do we need to? Maybe we're going to come down a bit, or
I think I'm at a 7 now.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's a crash.
That is
a bit of a crash. I feel like 15 minutes ago I could have fought God. Now I feel like I would be humbled by God very easily, to be honest. The cat is also sat on my knee, and no, she's not now because I've looked at her.
Oh.
Are you stuck?
Do not perceive me.
Do not perceive me. Off she pops. No, I'm just going to stand on the desk, are you? I think I've realised the limitations of my own physical form. I'm aware of my aging flesh suit. I've never felt closer to death, is maybe where I'm at right now.
So a 7 then?
Yeah, it's a 7.
Okay.
Closest to death I've ever been. Just a 7. Just a 7.
You know what? There's sometimes with Monster, there's like a round 2, so that could shoot right up again.
Still a third of the can left. Let's see what happens.
There you go.
Just say at this point, I feel as well, I should probably tell you, I have only ever had a monster. I think it's either a monster or a relentless. I can't remember. I've had an energy drink once in my life. I didn't quite realise what it was, and I thought I was going to die.
We need to go. Yeah. We need to go to a park. We need to wear baggy jeans, Vans, Etnies. We need to have chains, and we need to all drink monster, and Rebecca will give you your second ever monster.
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like I'd need 2 trusted friends there to sort of like help me through the experience.
Yeah. We've got you.
Because I don't know, you're glamorizing it. That's the problem. You're glamorizing
our park babes
energy drinks.
Glamorizing.
And I want to do it now, but I feel like it's definitely a bad idea, even if I know I want to do it.
Yeah, who does it? WKD? No. Alcopops? Who? No. It's Monster. That's where it's at.
Yeah,
you'll be You'll be on the swings. You'll be going down the slide.
Yes, I love that. That'd be great. I'm looking forward to this around. Now. Yes,
I'm up for that. Sounds unhinged. Just 3 people in their 30s drinking Monster in a park.
Yeah. Also, can we all please dress like we did when we were 14? For me, that will not be a stretch.
Yes. So... I was very Avril Lavigne, so I will. My princess, my pop.
Yeah.
My queen.
I will have to wear a black t-shirt and blue jeans. So goodness knows how I'll scrape that together.
I actually really love the top you're wearing now.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like I've seen it from my childhood. The monster who's eating cookies.
Yeah, this is a fairly old one because I am way behind on my laundry, but it glows in the dark.
Oh,
does it really?
It does, and I'd forgotten about it. But I went outside yesterday and sat in the sun for a bit after work because it was really sunny. And then there is a hallway in my house where there isn't really a light that's convenient, and so when I was walking down that later at night, I was like, oh yeah, that's great.
God.
Cool.
Honestly, I feel like I would scream if I forgot that my t-shirt glowed in the dark. I'd feel like I was being attacked by something if something was just glowing on my chest. I didn't realize.
Oh, nice. Right. I only have one game for this section, so I feel like someone else should start, and I'll kind of go in the middle, and then we'll...
Sure.
Go on, Rachel.
I'll jump in. My first pick is Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. Which I've talked a bit about before, but not at length. I think it was pretty early I mentioned it. Or was it in the upcoming Indies one, which I mentioned it? I don't remember. I mentioned it at some
really
point.
Early on. Yeah.
Yeah. It must have been very early, yeah.
I'm really looking for... Because I remember because, Liam, you said a game and then someone in the comments... Because it was like one of our first comments. And someone in the comments said that was a good game. I don't remember. Never mind. We do read every comment in Discord.
I know what you're on about. It was
very early on, and I was like, "Oh my god, people are paying attention." So that's how I know I've talked about it before.
Yeah, I remember that one for that reason as well, but I can't remember the game they mentioned.
I thought you mentioned something, and then they were like, "Oh yeah." Anyway, yeah. So Bomb Rush Cyberpunk it hasn't actually got a specific release date. It still says 2023. So I'm like praying it does come out this year because it's like nothing else that's coming out or is going to come out this year. Oh my god, I think I described it like this last time. Like, where do I even start? It's made by Team Reptile. It's kind of like a spiritual successor to Jet Set Radio. If you've played that, I've not. So that's why I'm also very looking forward to playing this, like running around, skateboarding, mini biking, rollerblading. It's essentially a giant playground where you can, jump on everything, grind on anything, like just scoot to your heart's content around this city. Also spraying graffiti because you are a criminal in this game. And there's like these gangs. You can have like face-offs against them for territory. I think through dance battles or through certain...
it's breakdancing, I think. Yes,
breakdancing, right? So through breakdancing battles, or I think it's through like timed challenges, tagging as many areas of like a certain part of the city as fast as you can. There are cops in this universe, but you have to like outrun them. I think the same similar in Jet Set Radio. They're obviously the big baddies. They suck, and so they're your like biggest antagonist. They're the biggest antagonist of the game. But yeah, it's super colorful. The soundtrack is one of the things I'm looking forward to because I think I listened to Jet Set Radio's OST fairly regularly when I need to be hyped up, or when
So
you know
good.
I need a bolt of energy through my body. I listen to that OST, and I think it will have the same vibes. Is it the same? I'm wondering if it's the same musician, writer.
I think it might be this. I was just looking. I think it might be the
is.
same musician. Yeah.
Right. So absolutely no worries there. The OST is going to be absolutely banging. So yeah, you're going to be running around the city, parkouring, skateboarding, having dance-offs with very strange people. I think one of the groups is like these zombified basketball players who look like they've been like Frankenstein sewed together. It's very wacky, very bizarre. I might have mentioned this before again, but when I spoke to Team Reptile about why the main dude wears a helmet, apparently it's because he doesn't have a head and he's actively looking for it. So that's why he wears the helmet, which
incredible.
Is wild. So I think there's going to be a lot of like those storylines. The vibe is very weird. I'm so pumped for this game, and I really hope it releases this year because that will. Don't forget about Monster. We'll just like play this game, and we'll honestly all be hyped up for days. Energy for days. So
it says on its Steam page it comes out on the 18th of August.
Which
I didn't realise it had a release date.
I didn't either.
Thank you.
That's
so
for
soon.
checking. That is so soon.
I can't believe it's that soon. This is also maybe one of the most. This is probably like the second. Okay, I've reached the brain not working part of this energy drink experience.
Amazing.
Help! This is one of my most anticipated games of the year as well. It looks absolutely phenomenal. Jet Set Radio is a real like formative game for me. Music especially, sort of like the acid jazz soundtrack. Yeah, phenomenal. I cannot wait for this. Did you play it? Slightly off topic, but also kind of related. Did you ever play Umurangi Generation?
Yes, that's we're doing we're doing a top 25 for the website at the moment, like each of us, because we're going to do the top 100 a bit earlier this year. So we're all doing our top 25s. Umurangi's in my top 10 easily. I love that game.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so good.
And so I think that was my gateway to these kind of subset of games, where you're like moving around an environment. It's very like you're like in the city, but like in the grungier parts of the city, you're not necessarily So I'm very I'm sorry, I'm stunned. 18th of August.
I know, right? Like 2 months away. It's
That's
incredible.
2 months.
Cannot wait.
God, I gotta put that on my. I have a spreadsheet, but it's for work. It's a less fun spreadsheet than games I've played. I know, major boo, but I need to put it on because that is fast approaching.
Definitely.
Jesus Christ.
Oh wow.
But that's my first one.
I'm stunned for a different reason. I've just remembered the top 25 games list we're all putting together, and I've done mine and how strange it is.
Mine,
yeah, extremely
I've got
strange.
I've got to like 15-ish, and the rest is not ordered because oh my gosh.
It's
Can't
too hard
order
to
them.
pick.
It's too difficult.
It's really difficult. I eventually went on some very odd vibes that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to defend.
Incredible. Honey Pop
anyway,
number 1.
That's something else to look forward to over on the site is our top 100 games.
Top 100.
Favourites of the team in 2023. If I have anything to say about it, it's going to be very weird this year. Liam, do you want to jump in with another anticipated game?
I'll go next. So a game that doesn't have a release date yet, could be this year, could be next year, but I just want to give a shout out anyway because I'm excited for it, is Knuckle Sandwich. Andy Brophy. Sole developer, another great indie name as well, Andy Brophy. Love that. Add that to our ever-growing list of cool names that we like.
Andy
so
Brophy.
Knuckles...
You have to have a cool name to be an indie developer. It's just the rules.
It seems, It seems like it's a requirement. I'm going to say it. Andrew Quist. So Knuckle Sandwich is an RPG. It's set on a fictional Australian island. You play as a young guy who's just arrived, and it's up to you to solve a bloody mystery along with a group of weird mates. It's clearly inspired by Earthbound, which is an old Nintendo RPG that everyone says I should play, but I've never played. It just looks like full of life and character. It's like colourful and quirky and weird, almost surrealist in a way. But the thing that really, really appeals to me about it is that the battle system is conducted by WarioWare style minigames.
Oh, I love that.
When you get into a fight with like a weird little dribbly creature, there is a bespoke WarioWare style minigame. So you might be like a rhythm game, or you're like spotting ghosts in a room, or shooting at a spaceship, or avoiding finger lasers. Like, it's got that quirky humor that WarioWare is known for.
Yeah.
I'm like an enormous WarioWare liker. The fact that this has 100 bespoke games in it for battle, based on the characters in your party and the enemies you're fighting. It seems super ambitious, and it looks lovely. It looks quirky in that sort of earthboundy, Undertale-y way. Knuckle Sandwich. Can't wait for that. Not guaranteed to be this year, but just want to put it on people's radar because I hadn't heard of it until Ed told me about it at the start of this year.
Hell yeah. Yeah, anything with like that kind of WarioWare mini games.
Yeah, just the idea of WarioWare inspired combat just activated something in my brain. I was just like,
it's such a cool idea, isn't it?
Yeah. Have you played Spookware, Liam? It's WarioWare mini games. It's like about 3 like skeleton dudes, but all the WarioWare mini games are like based on like horror tropes.
What is what? This looks amazing.
Yeah, it's very your thing.
I'm going to need to check this out as well. It's ringing a very faint bell with me, but I need to
check
that
it's very funny.
I can't look anything up because of where my keyboard is, but I'll have to look after we record.
It's by Dredge XP.
Yes. That's why I know it. Obviously, yeah. I knew it rang a bell.
Yeah, that's very good for WarioWare shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm gonna. How much is that? £7?
Yeah, that's
immediately.
The one that they've done that's not a DreadX anthology, but is a kind of anthology game. I remember. Now.
Yes.
Right.
Is it different developers? I think it's different developers, maybe.
Beeswax Games.
A little while since I checked in with DreadXP, and I really should look more because they have brought out so many good things this year that I've barely scratched the surface on. Ugh, man.
Yeah,
but this game is fun. Like the whole second act is like a murder mystery, but on like a ship. God. And it's like, but they're all skeletons. They're already dead, so it's a bit. I think they go to prison at one point. It is quite funny.
Oh wow! I'm like, just genuinely there. Like, do you think I could play this tonight?
There's a high school bit.
Oh my god! Amazing.
There you go. I'm done. And
yes.
Oh my god! There's a little, go back to high school.
A little bony boy playing a keyboard. He's bashing out the tunes.
So in the high school bit, you have to gather band members, and you all have to like play songs. And I think there's definitely like a little bulky keyboardist guy.
Nice. Oh wow.
I love this. Yeah, I need to play.
I've got to check this out.
How are you recommending things on the back of other recommendations?
Right, I know. Incredible. Have I missed this despite knowing about it? This is frustrating, but exciting at the same time.
Isn't it great making a podcast that we want to listen to? I think that all the time. Yes. I'm always like, I'm benefiting from this every time we record it.
Right? Oh, it's so good. I'm so glad that we don't share a lot of notes ahead of time usually in what we're going to talk about, because then we just get to react live to all of this. All of this stuff.
What's yours, Rebecca?
No, I was about to say another nice little segue, because you mentioned high school stuff and my enduring interest in high school narratives. As someone who hated thinking about being a teenager when I was one, but now look back nostalgically on my own teenage experiences and like think about, what if I had a more interesting time, the extremely sort of dull, normal childhood and teenagerdom that I had. But anyway, yes. So I was going to say quickly ahead of my little section here that there are a lot of games that I'm really looking forward to that are TBC 2023.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to quickly run down my top 5 of those, just because there are so many, and I wanted to give a little shout out to some of them. So I'm looking at like Inescapable, Himbo Harem Homicide, Sucker for Love Date to Die For, Demon School, Underground Blossom. These are all games that I'm so stoked for. But I was like, I'm not gonna go into too much detail just because there's so many things to talk about already, and because I'm like, you know what? If those games don't end up coming out in 2023, I'm okay with it. I would rather that everyone in the industry be like healthy and happy and have a good time.
Yes.
And much as I really, really would love to play those games this year, if they come out in 2024, that is so cool by me, even though 2024 is officially the year I hit my mid-30s, and that's terrifying.
Oh.
So I'm like really scared of it, but also if I have some cool games to play in 2024, then I'll feel better, and that's cool. So yeah, hope everyone's working on all those games is doing good.
Needs to come out this year. Uspert, Demon School this year. Please and thank you. Please, Uspert, Demon School needs to come up. Please, I'm begging you.
I got a good feeling. We've got the demo. We've got the demo, so I've got a good feeling. But
I need it's just more. It wasn't the boss fight. I want the big skeleton. But yeah, I mean, everything Rebecca said, obviously.
Uspert, please.
Uspert, please. Yeah.
A game that it does have a projected release date in 2023, and I did foreshadow this at the top of the podcast, is Goodbye Volcano High.
Call before I'm gone, 'cause you want to. Won't need another home, 'cause I won't go back. I won't go back. Call before I'm gone, 'cause I want you to. Oh, drive me all the way, never take me back. Won't you fly me all the way, 'cause I want.
Which was put back from June 15th to August 29th recently, which is, you know, it's going to sound weird. I love to see delays. I'm like, good, everyone take care of yourselves. Yeah. And also because June is already really busy, and there is a selfish aspect to this, as in all things. I can selfishly go, oh, you know what's a bit less busy, although I'm a little worried about them because they're now launching only a week ahead of Starfield.
Is it?
I'm like gonna do my bit to be like, play Goodbye Volcano. If you have a week before Starfield and you're like, what am I gonna do with that week in my life? Goodbye Volcano High looks like it's gonna be a perfect sort of game to play in a week as well. It looks like it's got that kind of, you know, 10 to 20 hour energy to it, even though I have no idea if that's true or not. But yeah,
did you just say go by Volcano High intentionally?
Maybe.
Because it's if that's incredible. They should use that as their marketing. That's brilliant.
Unintentional.
You remove the D and it becomes a command. It's
that's
so
true. Probably just a bit of a stutter, but I'm glad that I could just further my own agenda. Even
I was like, there's a marketing genius over here. Go by Volcano High is brilliant.
Even when I'm just messing it up, I'm actually making it better. It's so good. But yeah, Goodbye Volcano High is, we've talked about it on the podcast before. But just to recap for anyone who's not heard the previous episodes, I'll just say it's basically Life is Strange with dinosaurs and Guitar Hero and a visual novel. So basically, other than the fact that I never played Guitar Hero, it's a perfect intersection of all my interests, and I'm willing to learn and it's got Lachlan Watson in it, who is in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. They're very cool. Yes. It is a thoughtful narrative about growing up and potentially the end of the world, which is another subject that I am constantly kind of dwelling on. Feels less abstract than it did when I got really into dystopia and apocalypse in my teens. But yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely got that going for it. And it looks like just exactly that perfect intersection of all those interests. And I haven't managed to play the demo yet, which I'm sad about. But yeah, Goodbye Volcano High. I'm very excited. Can't wait to play it in August.
Yeah. It looks great. I want to be all up in there. I want to cry over dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, I'm going to cry over dinosaurs.
I want to cry over gay dinos, Rebecca.
Yeah, I mean, that's a mood.
Don't we all? I mean, we should do it in August. We should do the gang plays Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk, and Goodbye Volcano High special.
Ooh, yeah, I love those two. Yeah, for sure.
I think that'd be good.
It's a good combo.
Definitely. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say about Goodbye Volcano High at this point. I just wanted to give it a quick mention, say I hope everything's cool with the developers. I look forward to seeing it when it comes out, hopefully August.
Mm-hmm. No, I love it when a game gets delayed. Assuming that, obviously those things sometimes come with probably a heavy toll on the developers. They're probably close to the end of a project and it might be disheartening to do that. But I think, like, what's that Sonic meme where it says, I want shorter games.
Yes,
with
worse graphics.
Money. Yeah, with worse graphics. I'm not even kidding. Like, I think about that all the time. I almost want that on a t-shirt, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that I'm not messing this up, but I do think that the press release for the delay did mention things like making sure that the team were working to sensible hours and avoiding crunch and that sort of thing, which is always like, you love to see it.
You do.
Take all the time you need.
That Sonic meme is our prerogative on Indiescovery. Like, if
sure.
there was one meme to sum us up, it would definitely be that Sonic meme.
And it's very appropriate that it's an unhinged Sonic the Hedgehog shitpost. That is the mantra for our podcast. I think that just sums us up perfectly.
Like a glove. Yes.
Taurine has entered my cells again. Rachel was right about round 2.
Liam, go.
I've got, by the way, on the side of this can, it says vitamins. What vitamins is in this toxic sludge I've put in my body? What vitamins? It says L-carnitine. Like, nothing in this is natural. It's basically like drinking liquid meth. My next game is El Paso Elsewhere by Strange Scaffold, which is set to come out at some point in 2023.
I turned a man to a beast right in front of me. The only warmth that I see steams from his sleeve, so bloodily he's naked. See a black man pounding the pavement. Every crack in the ground is a burden. He's taking their place in bets, spending their jets. Thin-haired bastards craving sweat, salivating on a human marionette. Nervous fingers grip the cage they build and shake it. I want this man to help me break.
Small disclaimer, Xavier Nelson Jr., who is the lead writer and I think designer of El Paso Elsewhere, has written for RPS before in the past. So, El Paso Elsewhere, you play as a slightly disheveled man, Mood, who must fight his way through hordes of vampires and other dribbly creatures within a reality-shifting motel to defeat, and this is what the Steam page describes, a villain you once loved. So it's a third-person shooter, and all combat takes place within these like tight corridors and grungy rooms, and you can jump, you can bounce off walls and do like dive backwards to shoot all these horrible monsters. And when you do so, you get bullet time, because basically this game has been made in the mold of the original Max Payne game. So you are this sort of like hard-boiled detective figure who are fighting through these really horrible rooms within this motel. So it's like a noir. It's presented as a noir. The trailers for this game are amazing. I watched one earlier. I think it's a new one where he's talking about love and what love is, sort of as he's diving slowly through these rooms and shooting like zombies in the head with a shotgun.
Oh, wow.
You know, you're just like a sad man with a gravelly voice and you're fighting vampires. And I'm like, yeah, I'm on board immediately.
Fair, yeah.
It looks so nice. It's got PS1 era sort of like lo-fi graphics. But the motel itself is really surreal. So it looks like it probably breaks down the further you travel through it in terms of like how rooted to reality it is. But one decision they've made, and I'd love to talk to them about this because I reckon it's probably like one of these design decisions that's been led by a tech problem, is that there's no roof on the motel. So when you're running around these rooms, the roof of the building is completely missing. And instead, there's just this like beautiful starscape of like surrealist imagery above it. So even though you're in this tight, claustrophobic location, it's sort of like got this endless void above you at all times. And I wonder if it's like, oh, the camera kept clipping through the ceiling, because that was kind of a problem in the original Max Payne. Like it almost felt a bit too claustrophobic. So by removing that, you almost give the player more affordance, I guess, to see more visibility. And it's one of those things where you're just like, I wonder why that happened. And it just feels like a very creative solution to a problem. Yeah, very emotive, very evocative. Xavier, I mean, I'll just say it out loud. Like Xavier on Twitter, a great follow.
Absolutely.
Strange Scaffold released a game this week. I can't remember what it's called.
Yep.
I'll find this.
I've been following that with such interest.
Sunshine.
Boat poker sim.
Yes. Oh,
yes.
I wish I remembered, because I've read it so many times the last 2 days, and yeah, it's under pressure has gone from my head completely.
The names are so long. Like,
they're so good.
I can find out, I think, without recourse to my keyboard.
I've got it. Sunshine Shuffle.
Nice.
So they've just released that on the 24th, so on Wednesday. You play poker with a bunch of cute animal friends. Yeah, it's like got a story about them being attacked by the mafia or something. But Xavier was on Twitter constantly saying that the point of the game was to teach children how to gamble. And he made this bit so often that Nintendo, it's really bad. Nintendo basically blocked it from being sold on Switch.
Yeah,
it's not about that at all. It's not about teaching kids how to gamble. It's just a game that has poker in it. But because he liked that bit, he basically shitposted himself off the Nintendo eShop.
And out of South Korea. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the updates. But
South Korea as well.
We're not going to sell in South Korea. I checked and it was on the eShop in the UK. I think it
Oh,
launched,
that's good.
I think it launched okay.
It's the UK,
apologies
so.
if I'm getting that wrong, but I did go and have a check.
Oh, it made me laugh
And
so
it was
much.
available on both of
Amazing.
its intended platforms in the UK. It has come out on Steam as well.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
on
the Steam
Steam,
launch
yeah.
has been unaffected, which is good. But yeah, I've never seen such a dreadful and joyful situation at the same time. I don't think there's a word in English for what's been going on over the last couple of days.
It's so good. The video where he was like, I think I've goofed too close to the sun.
Yes.
It was just so funny.
Oh my goodness. I wish him all the best.
Yes, me too.
I hope it gets sorted soon.
And I can't wait for El Paso Elsewhere.
I can't. He's just so
Amazing.
prolific.
He really
I know.
is.
So prolific.
I don't know anyone who's had their hands in as many projects as Xavier has.
It's wild. Yeah.
He's just always, it's like he's got a new game coming out every week and his input is always quite substantial. Yeah, very prolific.
God damn it. But yeah, my second game that I can't wait to come out. This one doesn't have a release date because I checked, but it does say 2023, is the Plucky Squire, which literally last night at the PlayStation Showcase, they had a new trailer and the trailer is so cool. The idea is that you are a storybook character who is like this adventurer character. He has like a cute hat on, he has a sword, he's got like a little adventurer's like knapsack, and he's traveling through the book. But the idea with it is that it's kind of 2D meets 3D, so at some points the character can like leave the book and in a 3D world like walk around the desk he's on, like explore the kids' room he's in. And it's kind of one of these games where it's very cartoony, it's very fun, it's super charming. So yeah, the idea that this 2D, 3D character is then jumping into objects, like jumping into like different books and video games and movies and posters in this kid's room, just dealing with a whole bunch of like different like enemy types and gameplay types. So like at one point there's like Punch Out. It's a Punch Out kind of a situation. Another time it's like you're exploring like the circular, like this kid has a lamp or something, but it's like got images around it, like with a nightlight in the middle. And the little characters like hopping around this like circular surface. It just looks really cool. I love the energy. I love the different art styles. The 3D and 2D look really well done. I just, it's very It Takes Two and also a bit of like Tiny Kin. Like I just, it looks like such a joy and I can't wait to play it. And yep, that's basically it. It just looks great.
Its original announcement trailer at Jeff Fest last year.
Yes.
It looked amazing. I was already on board just from the beautiful 2D stuff. But that moment when the character jumps out of the book and becomes 3D, that's one of like the top 10 moments in a game trailer I've ever seen. Like the visceral reaction I had to that, I was like, yes!
Yeah, it is so
great.
good. It just looks so charming. I love it when a game just
really
like charms
does.
the pants off you. And I'm just like, I love this. And I really like the idea that there's like, it keeps your attention through like different gameplay styles. I really like that. Like, and you know, when a game just picks something up, you play it for a bit and it just chucks it away and you're like, okay, cool, let's go on to the next thing. Like that kind of
I love
like,
that too. I really love games
it's
that
like,
do that.
Okay, you're a 3-year-old. Here's something new. Here's something new. Here's something new. And you're just like, okay, I will play all this and have a great time. And I just get the vibe that this game is only going to be like 5 hours long, maybe 6 hours long. But it's just going to be the most well-built, concise, not like no like saggy parts ever. It's going to be just like absolutely
because shorter games.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As we were saying, shorter games. Give me 10 hours. That's the sweet spot. 10 to 20 hours. Perfect.
Yeah.
Don't need to pad it.
And I just
Sounds great.
It gives those vibes. It's very aware of what it is. Like, oh, is that a lunchbox? Like, I'm looking at the screenshots now. Oh, I think one of these is like a pencil holder of like the Wild West he jumps on the side of.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, nice.
It just, I really, I think there's something quite Tunic about it. You know, Tunic had like the guidebook that you would like explore and like it was part of the world building, and this is very similar in that there's just like I just know I'm going to have a good time playing this game. I just know it. It's just going to be a solid pick.
You'll play this with a smile on your face for the whole time because, I mean, I'm just re-watching the trailer from the PlayStation Showcase last night. Like, there's like a doll's house that has paintings that have been drawn by a kid in it, and you can jump into the paintings, and then you can jump out and run around the dollhouse. And there's like a bit with like a staircase made of paper, and you're running up the staircase. But because it's a 2D image, you're running up it just straight up normally, but your character looks like they're running up the folds of the paper.
So
so inventive.
Cool.
You're right.
Oh, I need to rewatch these trailers. I'm just going to go rewatch a bunch of trailers this evening, I think.
I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. Devolver's lineup. There's a few Devolver games I wanted to announce, like to talk about, but I felt like some Devolver games, I think they get, you know, massive amount of press, and that's amazing for them. And, you know, I don't think things like Angerfoot need me to champion them, but Angerfoot, Plucky Squire, I mean, good God, like that publisher knows how to find
Cult
games,
of the
right?
Lamb.
I know, right?
Oh,
isn't Umbrella out this year as well? Like that was your pick.
Oh my God,
Umbrella, that was another one. Yes.
Yeah, that was one of the ones maybe I was gonna pick. Oh
yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, Devolver are having a good year.
Yeah. Can everyone please stop being so prolific and talented?
I know, right?
Can indie games just stop? If indie games
guys.
could just stop for a month, that would be fantastic. Okay, have June, Volcano High, yeah, fair enough, and then just stop for a bit.
They're all going to have September off because we're all going to be dealing with stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, but we don't get a month off to play indie games.
We don't get a month off to play them. That's the problem. That is the problem. Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Nice. That's a very good pick, gang.
Yeah, well done, everyone.
So many good recommendations. Again, I turn up to record this and I end up with a Steam wishlist that's got 8 more games on it than it did at the
I've
beginning.
wished this had like 4 games this episode.
Oh my goodness. But I think it's time to move on to hyper-fixations if we're all happy with our extremely overinflated wish lists.
Yep.
Yes.
Nobody mentioned anything else cool, please. But also do tell us your hyper-fixation.
Stop finding cool things.
Right.
Desist.
I'm going to do one episode where it's just I refuse to mention anything that's not something that I've gone over in such meticulous detail before. I'm like, nothing that will sell you on anything new. Just everyone have a breather for 2 weeks and go and play something that they've already seen.
Oh, won't send us off into like a spiral of just like, oh, this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't that last episode?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true, actually.
Pocket Cast's featured episode, the one where we spoke about Goofy for 25 minutes.
God damn it.
People seem to like it. Oh, goodness.
Oh.
All right, who's hyperfixating first?
Can I go? Because mine's relatively quite short.
Yeah, go.
Go for it.
Mine is Kylie Minogue's new single, Padam Padam, which is incredible. Guess what? News alert. Kylie Minogue has a new single out.
I can't believe I didn't know about this.
Yeah, the pop princess herself is still going. I didn't know that she was still going. I just thought she was just getting all those delicious royalties from all her absolute bangers from the early 2000s. But apparently, no, she's still going strong. And so this song is just it's just an anthem of just pop. It's very basic. Kylie does not do much in it, but she doesn't need to. It's just very sultry. You know, her music is very thirsty is a word that comes to mind when I listen to Kylie Minogue's albums, her songs. And this is very much that. It's kind of popped off online a bit as like a bit of a joke, but also it's a really good song. And as I was recovering from my encounters with Middle Earth in Gollum, I had this on repeat and it healed me.
It soothed your soul.
So yes, mine was Padam Padam, the very sultry single from Kylie Minogue, who, good for you, Kylie. You go, girl.
Awesome.
I don't know how old she is, but
it's a good track. Why is it popped off online? Is it because people don't like the song? Or?
I think it's the fact that it's called Padum Padum, so people are like putting it in meme formats. Not in a bad way. People still love it, but it's just one of those songs that people are a bit like, this is a silly name. Because it is kind of a silly name, but you know, she's a silly girl. She's just crazy like that. Kylie, Miss Kylie over here.
So random. XD.
XD. Raw means I love you in dinosaur.
Go on.
Yes. Oh, that was a was quite a dig into the depths of my XD lol so random past.
Sorry to bring that back up. You look like you were having a visceral reaction to that memory.
I just, it's but yeah, anyway, single, it's very good. It's a good club song, it's a good pop song.
Oh, lovely. Nice. I, like you, had no idea that Kylie Minogue was still active in producing music, so awesome.
Right? Did I?
Like, I listened to her old stuff quite a lot. Like, obviously, like, Fever from 2001 was, like, iconic for Kylie. Like, she had so many bangers off that. But then she kind of, I guess she was still making music, but, like, I wasn't really following, I guess, her career. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But anyway, the single is great, and I'm loving it. It's on repeat constantly. It's very evocative, though. It's a bit naughty, so... beware.
It is. Rachel bringing NSFW recommendations for this podcast. I would never.
Guys, I don't know how to tell you this, but I think the music of Kylie Minogue is a little bit horny.
She's a bit thirsty. She's a little bit horny. But yeah.
Liam, throw some cold water on this.
Well, I don't think I can.
Oh dear.
Oh God, it's heating up.
Is it Leon Kennedy again?
It's not.
Leon Kennedy's released a single.
Oh God, I'd love that. I feel like if Leon Kennedy released a single, it would probably be a Kylie Minogue cover.
But which one? Okay, but
Two Hearts.
Oh yeah,
so you had that in the barrel. You knew
that was very quick.
I like Kylie Minogue. I'm not ashamed about that. I love it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
but you knew which song Leon Kennedy would cover just immediately.
Yeah, you make your characters in The Sims, and I think about what songs they perform. We all have our vices.
I think it's lovely. I'm surprised by it. Not by you enjoying the music of Kylie Minogue, but that this being an intersection of those interests that you are just ready to go any minute to talk about.
I feel like
amazing.
I feel like I've never thought about this before, but you could probably give me a couple of characters, and I'd tell you what song they would perform if they released an album. I just feel like it's an intrinsic.
All right, I need to know what Ada Wong would sing.
Ooh.
Oh, Piece of Me by Britney Spears.
He's not lying, he knows.
So good at this game.
I don't know. I don't
this game
think
we've
this
just
is a power I
invented
normally
is suddenly my
possess.
favourite thing.
Also, these aren't just when I think of Kylie and Britney, like I would immediately go to those songs, but so like there's like a level of knowledge here that like I'm impressed.
Great.
What can I say?
Can you believe it took me 30 years to realise I was bisexual?
Britney,
dear.
Kylie.
I feel like the clues were all there.
By Awakening. I know immediately what Britney song any video game character would sing.
Oh man. Yeah, that
maybe.
That's a clue. That is a clue. That is legitimately, yeah.
A clue. It's a fucking baseball bat to the head realization of maybe this isn't straight behavior. What's happening right here?
I mean, maybe I do want to kiss Leon. Maybe I don't install this mod of his lower back tattoo as a joke.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Anyway, speaking of bisexuality, my hyper-fixation this week is The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom.
Excellent.
Here we go. Here we go.
What were you about to say that?
No, because I'm hoping you'll say it.
There are a lot of sexy characters in this game, I must confess. I don't know what's going on over at Nintendo, but there's something in the water underneath that headquarters.
Yeah.
Deary me. They've just been like, what if everyone was just super hot in this game? I don't know what else to say about Tears of the Kingdom that you probably haven't already heard. I did not really like Breath of the Wild. I've been a Zelda fan since I was a kid, played every single entry in the mainline series. When the Switch came out, Breath of the Wild launched alongside it. I was incredibly excited. I played that game for about 50 hours and did not enjoy much of my time with it. I thought it was a bit too open. I missed the linearity of the previous Zelda games. So when Tears of the Kingdom was sort of going through its marketing cycle, I didn't feel excited about it at all, which is maybe the first time in my life I didn't feel excited about a Zelda game coming out. In fact, you might remember, Rachel, at PAX, there was a Tears of the Kingdom photo opportunity with like a statue of Link. And I think I turned to you and said, I'm afraid to say this, but every trailer I've seen for this game looks very mid, and I have massive concerns about it. So I was put onto a secondment with the wider network to do videos about Zelda over the last few weeks. As I was editing the videos, I was like, this looks fine. It looks all right. Don't really get the hype, to be honest. Work then very kindly bought me a copy of the game, and I started playing it, and there was a moment where, at the very start of the game, it's not a spoiler, but Link sort of jumps off one of these islands in the sky above Hyrule, and as he's skydiving down to the ground, the music swells and it comes up with a logo. In that moment, it was just, I just sat there and I thought about when I was a young teen, 11, 12, I had a copy of Nintendo Official Magazine that had a 20-page feature on Twilight Princess. I read that magazine so many times, it literally fell to pieces in my hands when I was on holiday in Greece. As Link was skydiving, it was just like I had this rush of like emotion where I just thought, this is one of my favorite series, and I've not even thought about this new adventure, and suddenly I'm playing it. From that moment, I've just been hooked. Tears of the Kingdom is Breath of the Wild again, but that is not a negative. It's like they looked at that game and they just said, what if we just give the keys to every single part of this game to the player and let them do whatever they want in it? What if we packed more content in it? What if we gave it a Zelda story that actually feels like the most cohesive story they've ever put in one of these games? And it's just inventive and expressive and fun and goofy and dumb, and it makes me laugh every time I play it, and I'm getting distracted constantly, and I'm in love. I love it.
Yeah. It's a hyper-fixation, all right? Oh, it's so
really
good
is.
as well.
It's like,
it's so good to hear it, because like a lot of, as someone who's, as I was saying just before we start recording, I think about 30 minutes into Breath of the Wild, so I've got a way to go to catch up on Zelda. Hearing from someone who didn't think Breath of the Wild was all that, but does like Tears of the Kingdom, is a really, I think, pretty unique perspective in this last couple of weeks, because it's sort of fallen into, like, I don't think I've heard that take on it, but it's really nice to just hear that perspective. And like,
that is sweet.
Yeah, it's really, really good to hear that.
I think just having the open world, but being able to fiddle with it constantly, to be able to chop down a tree and get the log and put a rocket on it and then blast up a mountain.
Yeah.
Like, just navigating that space is way more fun than in Breath of the Wild, where, you could literally walk, glide, or ride your horse. But now I can make like a shit little car and then zoom along at 900 miles an hour. Like, how is that not better? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just,
that's really good. When you said that you were doing Tears of the Kingdom, I was like, is this like my Honkai Star Rail thing a couple of episodes back? Is it like, are you a little bit of a hostage in this situation? But like,
it was weird. It was like the opposite. It was like, I thought, because I was basically looking through footage and cutting out guides for it for video. Which I assumed would just ruin the game for me. Like, sometimes that's part of this job, right? Is sometimes you will have to cover a game in a way that isn't just straight up playing it, and that can sort of sour the experience for you. And this just didn't happen. This game was able to punch through even that experience in a way that still makes it feel unique and interesting. Yeah. Anyway, Zelda good. Wow, what a unique opinion I have.
Genuinely though, like, I don't know about anyone else, but for me, that is the first thing that anyone said that has made me specifically excited for Tears of the Kingdom, as someone who's horrifically behind on Zelda as a whole. So,
all right, you're welcome.
I hope it'd be useful to someone else as well, but I feel like I've gained, and that's, for me, that's the main thing.
Oh, I agree.
As the main character here, the main character of life.
I'm not going to play Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not into Zelda, but I do like the memes. And I was going to ask you about the frostbite armor, the really slutty frostbite armor that everyone's like,
Rachel,
slutty frostbite armor.
I am making a beeline for that armor.
Nice. Send pictures, like the one I accidentally downloaded the other day.
But I mean,
we're sharing screenshots.
Yes,
of buff men, and I genuinely accidentally downloaded one, but then I was like, I'm not going to delete it.
No,
it's there now.
No.
Yeah. Why would you? Yeah. No.
Whenever I'm playing it, I just think of that. I want that twink obliterated meme. That's all that's ever in my head whenever I'm playing it.
Oh god, that is like, what were they? I mean, we know what they were thinking with the cutout at the back.
Oh, I know.
With the and then like the sleeveless, and then you've got the sleeve.
You know what would complete that outfit, considering it's got the open back? A nice little lower back tattoo. The Leon Kennedy special.
Incredible.
I was going to go ahead and say once again that is canon.
Yeah,
I will not accept it, well, in which that's not canon.
Yeah.
Right. Shall I do mine? Before
Yes,
before I start, we are about 2 hours into this recording, and I think it's all actually usable. This is going to be the longest Indescovery episode yet.
Whoops.
So I've been playing a couple of visual novels. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, it's just the Rebecca visual novel update that is so often the hyper-fixation section. Rachel and I have already talked at length about the fact that I finished Paranormal 7 Mysteries of Honjo this week, which is an amazing game. It's not an indie, so it didn't feature in this Games of the First Half of the Year list, but it definitely is in the wider list for me, in the list that includes AA's and AAA's. It's absolutely going on there. I don't want to say anything else about it because it is just, I went in knowing basically nothing, and it was a fantastic experience for that. Horror visual novel, about 12 to 13 hours. That's always my main question now, is how long is a game? And so I like to recommend things with an idea of how long they'll take to finish. It took me about 13 hours, as I say. And yeah, it's spooky and weird, and it has characters that I got quite attached to, and it looks like it's getting a sequel. So exciting. So, yeah, I was able to give Rachel the good news that there is a little Easter egg at the very end that teases a sequel a little bit.
Rebecca's eagle eyes for details in games continues to absolutely astound me. You know, something that, you know, a very talented guides writer would need. So
Thank
maybe
you.
not surprised there. But you were like, oh yeah, you know, that the sequel tease. And I was like, the what? The who?
It was like, load your save and open file 23.
What?
Yeah. But then I finished that and I was like, I wanted to play another visual novel. And so I finally picked up, and I literally talked about this game in the first episode that we recorded way back in December. Love is Strange, which is the visual novel dating sim fan game of Life is Strange 1. And it is adorable. It is everything that I hoped it would be. I just finished the first playthrough last night. There are 4 routes with 4 different characters you can date. I played the first one, which I surprised myself by picking the Kate Marsh route the first time. I did not think I was going to date Kate, but then I tried to go on, you know, the vibe in the game as I played through a dating sim, and I was like, all right, I'm going to date Kate, and it was adorable. Yeah. So I finished that route last night. I'm going to do the other routes at some point soon, hopefully. But as we mentioned in our very first episode, yeah, Love is Strange is a fan-made visual novel, alternate universe retelling of the original Life is Strange with no superpowers and no tragedy, and just the very like sweet Bildungsroman, like sapphic vibes. And yeah, it's I mean, I think it probably would, I don't know how well it would stand alone. I think it could stand alone as a game for someone who hadn't played Life is Strange, if they just wanted like a sweet like sapphic dating sim that is like 2-3 hours per route. It's just really nice. It was just a really like I got to the point where I was like, I need something that is just like a total comfort game. And that was kind of the thing that I picked up, and it just so worked. And now I'm shipping Max and Kate, which I wasn't expecting to be the outcome of this situation, specifically. Because I'm like in the main game, I was sort of like, oh, they have like a nice set of interactions and stuff. But I'm like, oh, it was just so well written. It was just so sweet. The way they kind of taken the broad outline and turned it into like a love story. It's just so adorable. I don't know. I'm just squealing because it was really cute. But I do want to play the other routes as well, because you can also date Chloe, who is actually your canon love interest, Rachel and Victoria. And they're all written by different writers, which I think is great. And so I want to play them all just to read all of the different scripts by different writers, because it's like an incredibly talented team. Again, this is the indiest of indies. This is a game that no one is allowed to profit off of. It is just made by people who love the subject matter and wanted to produce something in that world. And yes, it's available on itch.io. And if you like Life is Strange, or if you don't like Life is Strange, but you do like the idea of a sapphic dating sim visual novel, maybe you were put off by the fact that they kill a lot of the queer characters in Life is Strange. They don't in this, so there you go.
The Victoria route would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm like not
how would they make that
excited for it, but I am going to play it, and I feel like I trust this team now to take me on a journey that I am interested in seeing. But yeah, because I love Rachel and Chloe as a couple, incidentally, I did show you both. I now have statuettes behind me of Rachel and Chloe holding hands.
Yeah, they're so good.
Little figurines. So obviously, I'm poised to find Max someone else to love in in this scenario. So maybe not surprising that I hooked her up with Kate. But anyway, yeah, it was a delightful little experience. Just wanted to read it. And yeah, I've done the thing where I was like, please, everybody stop recommending new games. And I recommended 2 games as part of my Hyper-fixation. I'm just, I'm in a really rebellious mood today, guys. I've just been...
Really?
Everything I've said, I've just immediately gone back on. And I love it. I want to do it more.
I absolutely love the idea of a game where, like, it's a visual novel where each storyline in each separate branch is written by a different writer. Like, I just think that's such a great idea for like how each... I'm sure loads of games do this, but for it to be like a feature of this game just sounds really interesting to me.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I guess, as you say, probably games do it, but it's very rarely flagged in that way, right?
Yeah.
I think the only other game I can think off the top of my head that does it is Boyfriend Dungeon, I think, has one route that was designed, maybe written as well, by the creator of Hatful Boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and one that was by, I can't remember her name, but the lady who was the former director on Ghostwire Tokyo, she did another route as well.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they were both sort of like guest writers, and it was a bit of a selling point in that game that these 2 writers had worked on these specific routes. But otherwise, yeah, you don't generally tend to see that. And it is, you know, I'm excited and interested just to see how it feels to play in quite quick succession, like these alternate routes that you know have a different author behind them.
Yeah.
You know, I think that'll just be an interesting experience in a game.
One of my favourite games is Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. Not many people like it because you can bounce off that game very easily. It's not the easiest game to play. It's a bit janky. But I think there's like 10 characters all written by 10 different writers, and it's some of the best video game writing, like
That's
character
so
portraits
cool.
I've ever seen. They are very good. But that's the point, right? Is that each character feels so unique and so personable because they've been written by different people, and it makes total sense.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love that
I mean,
game.
On a related note, one of my favourite little facts from the wider Life is Strange universe is that Ashley Birch, who is one of the voice actors for Chloe Price, I should say, because she hands off duties between her and Rihanna DeVries, depending on various production factors. But she actually wrote or contributed a lot to the writing of Life is Strange Before the Storm, which is the prequel which stars Chloe. And I love the idea of getting someone who has like inhabited that character through the first iteration to then come and give, you know, put significant work into building that character going forward in the franchise. I think that's just such a cool idea.
It is cool.
It is a cool idea.
You'd love to see it. Sadly, it was I think partly because she had to be replaced because of a voice actors union strike at the time.
Oh, really?
I think that was the case. But, you know, it was nice to see that she still got to have input. And, you know, I think that for me now at this point, Ashley Birch and Rihanna DeVries, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that, are both Chloe. And so it's really nice to see them sort of both have that input on the character from various
really
different
cool.
perspectives. Yeah.
I did not know it was
cool.
Ashley Birch. That's so cool.
Yeah, she's Chloe in the Don't Nod produced games. And then Rihanna DeVries is Chloe in the Deck 9 produced games. I don't know about you guys, but because we're on Discord right now for this call, and I like to shut down my own camera, I'm looking at a picture of Chloe Price right now. So this is why I have so many. Like, she's my avatar on Discord. She's like one of my favorite fictional characters. So yeah, this is why I'm just here suddenly with all the Chloe Price knowledge at the end of the podcast. I just thought about her and I got a little swept up in my affection.
I feel like Twitter and Discord avatars are the equivalent of having like a heart-shaped frame on your desk for, like a character. Yeah. Like it's definitely that vibe. Like whoever you like the best is like, okay, that it's like in its own little frame virtually instead of having a physical copy of that person on my desk.
I did spend a non-zero amount of time making sure that avatar looked really good, like it's well centered with the stuff that's written behind her, and it's
It is a well-framed avatar. That is a good point. Yeah. To go back ever so slightly to what you said, Rachel, about Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. I played that when it came out, and I don't think I've ever fought to like a game as hard as that one. I found it so... The writing was so beautiful, and the voice acting. There's like a narrator in that game, right, who has just the most incredible voice. At launch, I think it was quite a slow game.
Yeah.
And I think that put me off after a while. It was just taking so long to get anything done. But I think they've patched it since then, right? I feel like they actually made some big changes to the way it played. I need to go back and try it out. It just reminded me of it. It's been years since I last played that. But
it's a slow game. It's the one I compare the most to Kentucky Route Zero, though. Like it's an American.
That is interesting.
It's an American Gothic game in which it's like magical realist elements. It's very slow, but if you know it's slow going in, it makes it a bit easier. But still, this idea that a lot of people bounced off it for exactly that reason. So
I've heard so many good things though, and I think it's another one that is sitting there in my Steam account, also probably on my itch profile, just several different copies of this game waiting for me to play it. So I really
need to go back to it.
I need to get around to it.
Well reminded.
Anything about like characters who feel very disjointed with American society, like American Gothic stuff, I eat that shit up. Dude, I've not stopped thinking about Norco since last year. Like I
still need to play a Norco. It's on my list. God damn it, there's too much shit to play.
The list.
Stop naming games.
Yeah. Okay. I think we might actually, for this episode, that might have been the last game name we're going to drop.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Before I do the outro, I just very quickly want to do a couple of bits of pod admin, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Of course, by all means, yeah.
So one thing that I want to mention is that the three of us are currently jury members on the Indie Cup UK 2023, which is a indie gaming... somebody please help me, I have forgotten words.
Awards.
Yes, thank you. It's kind of a sort of festival, a celebration of in development indie games, but it's going to end with some awards being given out, and the three of us have been asked to be on the judging panel, so that's something that we're involved in at the moment. I'm not quite sure how or if we're going to cover it on the pod yet, but definitely go to indiecup.net and look them up on Twitter and socials, and yeah, we're kind of around that at the moment. It's a really cool initiative to get eyes on a variety of very lovely in development indie games. And I can say we're in round one. There's about 80 games in there. I have looked at 20 of them so far, and once again, if people could just stop being so bloody talented, because I was really, really hoping that this elimination process that we're having to do would be easier than this.
There's 80?
There's 80.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
no.
It's fine. We've got days.
We've got a week.
Days. Yeah.
Oh god, I should really get on that. Jesus.
But yeah, it's really cool. It's something that we're all involved with, and if you want to go check them out, it's a lovely thing to be involved with, and
it's really exciting.
Brilliant to be asked to take part. The second thing that I just wanted to ask, Liam, how are you feeling now? I feel like we need a final check-in to round out the episode.
Yeah. Well, I partly did this for the bants, because I'm just that kind of lad. But also, I mainly drank that monster because I've really been struggling to stay awake over the past few days. You know what? Wasn't worth it, to be honest. I feel like most of this episode was a blur in a way that's making me feel anxious. I don't feel good. I just feel like it made me tired faster, to be honest, rather than actually.
Oh my god.
Helped in any way. So, I mean, we've got to live and learn, haven't we? Didn't die, so I guess that's probably something.
That is excellent. And we are now at 2 hours, 12 minutes into the recording, which is just so much further than any of us estimated.
Too long for a podcast.
So well done. Well done on that. Rachel, do you still have your notepad? Because I feel like we need to get a final number to properly end the charting of this.
I think I'm back. I think I'm at a 4 now. What did I start?
Oh, a 4?
Was it a 6 or a 7 you started on? I think it might have been 6.
So it was a 6. Then 15 minutes later, it was an 8. Then a bit over 15 minutes later, it was a 9.
Okay.
And then a big chunk of time passed, and then you were at a 10.
Yep.
Then you went back down to a 7.
Yep.
And now you're at a 4. So it's very much that mountain peaks we're seeing over the 2-hour period.
Yeah.
You did reach the 10 within an hour, so your peak was an hour, and now your come down is an hour, 13 minutes.
Well, that's good to know.
Wow.
Thank you for performing research on the effect a mango monster has on my body, on my frail aging body.
For doing this for science. It's been absolutely unexpected, but so entertaining. All right.
I knew there was trouble when you brought that monster out. I was like, this is going to be trouble.
He's ruined the podcast.
Enhanced the podcast.
Absolutely ruined.
We'll let the listeners decide. Please give us 5 stars. Remember what I said last week. If you don't like the podcast, don't tell us. All right.
We can't take it.
All right. I feel like I should actually do the proper outro now so Liam can go collapse in a corner somewhere.
Yeah.
thank you as ever for listening to Indiescovery. We really appreciate your support or your kind comments. We do read them all, we promise. And it means a huge amount. Also, if you do like the podcast, and only if you like the podcast, please do rate and review us on your podcast provider of choice, whatever that may be. I think we're on most of them now, most of the big ones.
5 stars.
Meanwhile, if you'd like to leave us a comment, I'm sorry.
Excuse.
Meanwhile, if you'd like to leave us a comment, you can do so over on rockpapershotgun.com, on the RPS Discord server, or by emailing us directly at podcast@rockpapershotgun.com. You can also find us over on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Meanwhile, if you like this show and you want more podcasts from RPS, then do check out our sister show, the Electronic Wireless Show, which is weekly. So they tend to release... they stick to 1 hour much better than we do, but it is weekly. So over the fortnight, you get about the same amount again.
I never thought of it like that. You're right.
Yeah, that's true.
And they are very cool and lovely people who have very interesting things to say about current gaming news that's a bit more broad across all areas. AAA, AA, all that goodness. So yeah, check them out. So until next time, it's goodbye from me, Liam, and Rachel.
Goodbye.
Someone's sorry for looking out over the side of the window there while you were talking, but I think someone started a fire outside my house.
Oh my
no, not
God.
Again.
I should probably stop recording. I'll end the podcast on that line.
Shit, yeah.